means what felony do I have?
Be converted because you
What felony do I have? What felony do I have, white boy?
Yeah, no, so you're
Right here, what felony do I have?
Well, you have assault charges on you.
That's correct.
Motherfucker, I was acquitted for that. You fucking
You were not acquitted.
Oh, you're acquitted. Well, guess what? I've never even been arrested. That's the amazing part.
That's because you're a homosexual. You would never defend even your own mother.
Because he's not a criminal.
Yeah, I know, because I don't do that shit.
You little barber boy.
Yeah, it's because I
You're the
don't
type
commit
of
violence.
you're the type of if someone robbed your mother in front of you, you're a coward.
I mean, to me, I look at it and I
Your
go,
daughter in her ass.
that's really fucked up. That's really messed up, dude.
Now your daughter's a loser.
I mean, dude, you're just a felon. Like, you
Imagine if you
no one
talk
cares.
like this
I gave
at
your daughter
any
that 3
other
more weeks.
time or
I gave your daughter
place.
that 3 more weeks, right in her mouth.
Yo, guys, please.
Any other time, any other
Can
place.
you just say free Palestine right now? Because I feel like,
Well, I just do the right thing.
Free the world from these dirty weasels scientists.
oh man, I love
Oh my
it.
God, you
Fucking loser, I love
put him
it.
in double dip because you can remove him. You let him stay on stage because you're a fucking coward.
This guy's a convict, and you're like, oh, this is because of the lifestyle.
I told him not to
This
remove
guy's
it.
making me doubt the nature of reality.
This guy's making me doubt, like, your entire side right now.
Wrong thing.
He's making me doubt the nature of reality itself.
That's because you're a white piece of shit.
Well, this is.
No, it's just because we're not rapists like you, so that's about it.
So,
I mean, really a
so
criminal.
how come there was videos, not even a month after the October 7th attack, of Israelis raping Palestinian detainees in Ghetto rape?
Dude, you've lost this conversation. You are a convict that has lost this entire
Stupid
conversation.
white idiot.
I would bet a lot of money.
Israelis got caught sticking their fucking hand in the cookie jar.
It's the reason why we're just ripping on your felony charges is because of the fact that we would rather speak.
Please don't bring no personal name, no nothing private. Oh, please just like keep it professional and keep it on politics. Right now you guys just beating for no reason.
What would you like to talk about for? I'll go in any direction.
Just like you guys speak on politics, man. This is the best thing you can speak about.
Why does
Somebody come from Palestine or from Israel?
Why don't any of them say this? Why these weasels haven't mentioned this cop is really the hostage negotiator who just did his report and did an interview yesterday with his woman stating that it was the Israeli government for the last 6 months that have denied the hostage negotiation. They stopped the last party to reject the hostage deal was Israel.
That's incorrect.
The Israeli hostage negotiator said it. Who we believe, him
What's
or
his
your
name?
stupid ass?
What's his name?
Him or your dumb white ass?
What is
Which
his
one do we
name?
believe? I'll get
What
his
is
name
his
right
name?
now. He did an interview yesterday with Peter Morgan, you fucking dickhead.
What is the name of the person you're
I'm gonna
talking
get it
about?
right now, you white
So you don't know. So Steve Witkoff was just over there and
Steve Witkoff is done, but another white American mouthpiece to the
But he's a hostage
He
negotiator.
don't, no, he's not.
Yeah,
No,
he
he's
is.
not.
He
I said
is.
the Israeli negotiator.
Steve Witkoff is the one who's doing the negotiating. The Israeli negotiator is not having contact with the line.
Yes, he does.
Steve Witkoff, no he doesn't.
Look
There
at
is
that
a-
lie. Look at the
Steve-
fucking idiot liar.
Steve
Motherfucking
Witkoff
weasel
said that.
idiot. Yes, he does have contact with
Steve
Hamas.
Witkoff
But
said
he
that
believes-
Hamas rejected the deal.
We don't care what his lying ass says. The Israeli
You don't care what
said
the
something totally
hostage
different. The Israeli hostage negotiator said something totally contrary to that.
Steve Witkoff was just there, and he said Hamas rejected the deal.
I'll give
The
you
guy's name is Norman Shuki.
There you go, Norman Shooky, yep, he was on there,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
our Norman Shirky.
You, of course you don't know anything about Israel, you fucking white coon.
Well, I just got back from there, I know a little
You
bit.
wasn't there shit.
I was
Fucking
there,
lying.
I was talking to the whole room from there. I spoke to him here. I was in Judea and Samaria, I was in Gaza.
There's no such thing, it doesn't exist, we only know what the West Bank is.
Well, where is
You're
Tel
just there
Aviv?
and shove it up your motherfucking ass.
Where is Tel Aviv?
It's in Palestine.
I thought Tel Aviv was in Israel.
No such thing as Israel, you mean the bus
Okay,
from America?
so who is Bibi?
So once again, why are you not talking about the Israeli hostages?
Wait, who is
Why
Bibi?
does he know more than you? Why is he
Okay,
saying
so I'm making the most recent thing. According to AP, Witkoff announced in July 2025 that the U.S. was cutting short the Gaza ceasefire talks because Hamas's latest response, quote, shows a lack of desire to reach a truce. Okay? That's the latest information on Hamas rejecting the deal.
I don't know what to say, man, but there was a lot of conflict in the room,
Did he just leave or?
but,
Yeah, he just left.
His name is Gershon Basket. That's his really negotiator. Gershon Basket.
I have something
He's been
to
doing it
confess,
for
right?
years.
The guy that just left, that's him.
yo, Rolo, shut the fuck up, bitch. I'm gonna remove you, bitch ass, just for saying that shit. This must me go out my way. I like when people speak like this way, you know? I don't give a fuck.
Basket. He's the top Israeli negotiator. He's the one that's been talking Hamas. He's been with. He
Oh,
even.
Alonso, you came back
told
from
him-
work.
He even said he brought in.
Yo, this is bro, can you please, like, chill and say, like, be important, be important. What is that?
No, for, I think that,
Just be on point, man. Fuck that shit, man. You just have to, like, curse that. You know what
I think, go for it with like the fucking aggression, but like, I'm not gonna lie, resistance is, he's a fucking.
I know you guys hate him. I know that.
No, they-
But that does not mean that I gotta kick him out the room, man. That's just like some bullshit, man.
That one is a bitch, and his father's a bitch. Don't worry about it.
It's the same like if I look at somebody else, it's like kick him out the room, man. It's like, fuck that shit, man. You
I mean, I'm just trying to be respectful for him. You know, I think that, you know, but I think that the Palestinian perspective would be much more respected if you didn't have a fucking convict making the points.
No,
probably.
they have the terrorist supporters like
My brother,
the Netanyahu and the
I understand you're angry or
angry. This has nothing to do with anger.
Just you look really bad.
I don't tolerate white terrorism.
It's okay, man. Take it easy, man. This is how the world goes, man. Just like gotta be patient, man. See what the future is holding. But I think the future is gonna be positive, man, for both sides and for everybody. And for people that asking, man, like, you know, but like Hamas will forever stay there and things like. And I said before they were in the room that after the 7th of October, Hamas put a fucking deal on the table. All a month after, that Israel could just follow and end the whole shit, but they didn't. So what is it right now? The question is right now.
We're convicted of
Where
crimes
this war is going right now? What is the plan? What's next, man?
The plan is to take over Gaza City.
It will not happen, man. They won't take over.
It's happening right now.
It's just like a dream, man. It's a chance, man. You got too many people that are resisting this.
Or they're not really resisting, they're sick of Hamas.
Yes, they are resisting this, I know Palestinian people, man. The Palestinian people are resisting, man.
They're
They don't want
self-destructive.
Israel to take over Gaza. They want to live freely, have schools, have hospitals. They
We
will
all agree with
survive,
that, boy.
so people can be educated. You You know, Israel must probably focus more on putting money, instead of putting money on missiles, just to like protect and make a war. Just like put money, man. Yo, listen, Rudy, I'm gonna remove this bitch because she can suck my dick.
Why are you talking like that?
I'm sorry, man, because she keeps saying bad shit about me, man. I'm just like trying to be on point. Like Israel and the rest of the world can use this money to build like football fields so the kids can play, can forget all the trauma that they have faced, man. You know? It's like, I hope like in the future there's gonna be a peaceful place where kids can grow and have fun and play football if they want.
Why didn't you do that already?
If they want, fish if they want.
Boy, why didn't you do this already?
Because your Netanyahu wanted Hamas, that's why.
No, why didn't you do it between 2005 and
For nothing Palestinians wanted Hamas, they voted Hamas in.
I'm asking for, why
Yes.
didn't they do this between 2005 and
Because
2020?
Israel man was Israel was choking Gaza, man.
How was Israel choking Gaza?
Gaza from
How was Israel choking Gaza? How was it?
Because in 2007, they put the blockade.
I want to ask you for it. How was, hang on.
The land and the border.
Hang on with this.
How they were choking Gaza? They were choking Gaza because they would cut off the electricity when they want, they would cut off the water when they want, they would cut off the food when they want.
Why did Israel do that?
Why would Israel do that? They have no reason to do that, man.
No reason?
People should live freely, man.
Nothing to the rockets for? Nothing to fire rockets into Israel?
Yes, but that's the resistance. That's the resistance. You know, that's called resistance.
So what's the consequence?
I'm putting it out.
So if you fire rockets, is it okay if I turn off the
Imagine
electricity?
yourself, somebody kidnaps you, and he
Sure.
puts you in a
Sure.
pillow.
If you fire rockets, is it
Won't you
okay if
try
I
to fight
turn?
this guy?
Or, if you fire rockets, is it okay if I turn off the electricity or not?
No, you did
There was not like sending rockets, man, but do you remember what happened in 2009 in Gaza? Do you remember what happened in Gaza 2009, 2015, 2019?
Okay, I'm asking you, if you send rockets, can we turn off the electricity or not?
No, asshole.
Why not?
There's no reason for that.
No,
What about the rockets?
Four.
What about the rockets?
With intelligence. They don't have the right to be controlling it, even before the rockets.
Wait, why don't we have the right to control it? Why
They're
not?
fucking starving people, you piece of shit.
Look, even you're saying that Gaza is a country?
They want to be a country, Israel doesn't allow them.
Well, who do they want to be the president of their country?
They'll figure that out once they get the right to fucking vote.
But they did vote, and they voted Hamas, and now you have this problem.
Hamas got elected before this. Hamas got elected before this. You stupid bitch. Hamas got voted in way before the fucking terror attack. As soon as they got voted, the piece of shit is ready to come and put a blockade on Gaza.
That's right. Because Hamas said they were going to destroy Israel.
My dick in your mother's mouth. Israel said they were going to destroy the Palestinians for wanting fucking your own state.
Palestine, fuck the Palestinians, fuck
Fuck your Jewish mother and fuck your white family. Fuck your daughters, fuck your nieces, your white piece of shit.
When did Israel say they were going to destroy the Palestinians? Tell us. When did they say that?
Every day. Every day.
So show me, I want to see, I haven't seen that, show me. Who said it?
The Israeli population, you piece of shit.
The population, they speak as one voice? Tell me where, I didn't see it. Was it in the news, or is it in your?
Yeah, there's many
crazy press?
videos in the news when they say kill death to all the Arabs.
Who
Yeah,
said that?
it's in the news.
Who
Israeli.
said that?
The Israeli population.
Are you
You're not from
sure?
Israel, you're a white boy from Brooklyn.
Well, I was just there, I just got back.
No, you
By the
went
way,
down the story, and you went there to go meet with a gay man and walk around with a faggot.
Actually, I went there as a volunteer in the IDF.
Look where you did shit.
Yeah, I
You're a
did.
fucking liar.
Look at my profile. Look at my profile. See what's in the profile. Early picture. Me with this hand. In Gaza. That's from April.
No.
So, yeah, take a
Don't believe
look.
it.
Take a look. It's a picture. Don't believe me. Look at my photo.
Oh my God, nerd. don't even fucking worry about resistance. That guy's a fucking convict. Like, who the fuck cares?
Because 4 can't, like, shut him up, so we have to deal with it.
What that takes resistance, they don't know the same person.
Well, El
I
Normo,
just think that resistance, is a hilarious, that is a secret cause.
So I haven't been convicted of any crime. I didn't assault an Israeli Arab. I'm not an informer for the FBI like he is. You understand that anything you say here can be reported by resistance to the FBI. Yes, you report on other people who are assaulting Jews, like you.
Liar. I report on Jews who are stealing organs and smuggling to other countries.
So you would think that you're an
Reports on other Jews, they were molesting children.
El Normo, I don't think it. Please, El Normo, I don't think it's even worth your time to talk to resistance because I honestly think he may have like a traumatic brain injury, and you're just unaware that his brain. He's so vulgar and uses so much profanity. Maybe he's got a traumatic brain injury, El Normo.
I think he obviously does. He also has an IQ of 50. Literally.
I think that he's doing a great job representing the Palestinian resistance in this moment.
How are you going to do that?
With the criminal resistance,
Well, you can't fix brain damage, El Normo. Then what's the point of debating with somebody with brain damage?
I'm not debating, I'm exposing you.
Well, that's true. You are shining a light on him.
I mean, I don't think that resistance is going to live this down, to be honest. Like, the fact that he's a...
You think the way I exposed you in real life is loud or attacking and molesting my own son?
I mean, the fact that resistance is like an ex-con, like, piece of shit. You're an ex-con.
I'm not an ex-con, I fucked your mother. That's what I am.
You've been in prison. I've never been arrested in my life.
I don't know whatever.
Is this how we have coexistence now?
He's a convict.
Wait a minute. So you mean, like, every guy that went to prison is a bad guy? Nobody has,
With all due respect, Donald, why are you giving this instead of platform? Why?
I mean, you know, with all due respect, I mean, this guy's like a fucking, like,
you whore. You get blowjobs at bars, you fucking dirty bitch.
This is on the side of the Palestine.
and then you're pushing my character, and this is hilarious. This is just like fucking.
Yeah, Amos, with all due respect, even giving resistance anybody's ears to listen to his vulgarity, his profanity, his diatribe, his hate, his spewing of absolute disgusting pig filth. It's so brain dead retarded, causes brain damage. It's brain rot. It's the blind leading the blind. Why let somebody who has brain rot give everybody else their brain rot? Nobody wants his brain rot. It's just brain rot. It's not coexistence now. It's not peace. It's not joy. It's not happiness. Silence is gold.
Listen, I tried all the time. Resistance in my form.
I'm just like, listen, calm down, calm down. Push it up in a second.
It's okay. I give you the even in the point to interfere you. But yes, why? So I want to answer that in my this room open to everyone. This room open to crazy people, to Muslims, to Jewish, to Christian, to Muslims. I said, if he can wake up from his graveyard, I let him speak in my room to explain why he killed 6 million Jews. Everyone can speak here, but since I'm speaking, nice conversation.
And I trust you as a Palestinian PLO leader who want to take Abu Abbas' place, that you should control the room.
Yes, I'm trying, man, I'm trying.
Amos,
Sometimes
why do you have any faith in this guy Four is every bit as bad as that criminal who you kicked out. He's the one who refused to give him a voice. He's the one who refused to allow any women up on stage. I mean, he's pathetic, he's disgusting, he's a maniac.
I'm not like they were just speaking about me. I was on mute the whole time.
No, I defend four. I think that four actually did a very good job.
And I don't like somebody that they don't let women speak. It's just too much.
So Amos, what is your solution then? Is Shabbos the answer, Amos? Is that where peace comes from? Is the source of peace Shabbos?
You shouldn't kick four down. You shouldn't kick four down. No, honestly, four did a great job.
I don't think he got more.
He did kick four. And four never goes away. Four is eternal. Don't worry, Ewan, you'll get a new boyfriend soon.
Wait. Now, why did you hear what they got to know about? Why did they play full and ish? I want to know why you remove ish. Say full.
We're not just saying bad about me, but you see what the guys are saying.
He wants a universe with
You are doing a bad job, Thor. You need to be impartial, like a good Christian, but you're probably not a Christian.
I'm not again, so we can.
You should make a Christian a mod. Like he will be.
Let the woman speak in the room.
No, man, she was saying
Explain now that let's relax, man. Let's relax in the kidney. Let's relax in the kidney. Oh, I don't want this. I don't want I give twice a room when I was speaking, and if somebody is the mute, they will find themselves down. I want to speak only to four now. Four, I want to understand why you remove Ish. Explain.
I fucking love these inserts, they're so fun.
After he put me down, I respect all the guys that stood up. I said that I was a good guy.
But she was supposing, maybe because I'm Palestinian, she said that I'm pathetic.
No, you are Palestinian and not pathetic. So what I think was so thing. So
I don't know, man. I don't
no, you have to accept everyone, even those who think you're pathetic.
It had nothing
Yeah, but
to
I
do
was
with whatsoever with
mute the whole time, man.
He hates women. He hates women. He demonstrated that multiple
Oh
times.
my God, listen, I don't want to listen to
have
this.
nothing against Palestinian people. Anybody who knows me is aware of that.
Did he say he hates women?
Multiple times.
So you heard him say that he hates women.
It's not in this forum. In this forum, he just demonstrated that he hates women by refusing to let me come on stage.
So if he didn't say he hates women, why are you claiming that he hates women if he didn't say it? That's not
He
fair.
said it, normal. He said it multiple times. In this particular forum, he only demonstrated it. He did not say it verbally, but he has said it verbally.
Do you hate women? Do you hate, he said many times he hates women.
Four got booted, I think.
When did he say he hates women?
He's come a number of times on a number of
Wait, I want to hear Pepe a little bit. I like Pepe. Pepe speak. I just want to say that I had a really good feeling about four. I haven't given you the permission to speak. I want to hear Pepe.
Oh, I was just trying to get these people to be reasonable. I'm sorry. I that's all I was doing. I don't have anything I have to say right now.
Okay, you speak.
Speak. No, I'm sorry. I like Pepe a lot. Pepe is fucking sick. I think he's actually doing a pretty good job.
Can we stop talking about people who aren't here and get back on topic, which is coexistence? Anyone have any solutions or plans on where the source of coexistence is? Well, the question is this an ESL training room or is this going to be a wisdom room where we can really get to the source issue of coexistence?
Excuse me. Okay, Mountain, you got 1 minute to speak. I don't have a minute tonight. What's up, guys? What's up? Yeah, no, I don't know, this is the thing. I don't blame Israel for occupying Gaza, man. I mean, they've been a real pain in the ass. They voted in the Hamas, overwhelmingly. Years ago, was it 2006 they did that and stuff? I think that they kind of sealed their fate. They've hated Israel in their existence. It's just like America with all the Indians here, if we wouldn't have dealt with them so harshly back in the day, some say harshly, but if we wouldn't have, we'd be dealing with, what the Israelis are dealing with the Palestinians today, where they're lobbing fucking missiles at us and shit. If we would have allowed the Indians to just get away with this shit, and appease them and play nice with them. I just think that Israel's doing the right thing. Some say it might be too harsh, but I do support Netanyahu. I think that he's doing, he's doing quite a bit, he's just going full him. And he doesn't care what people say, he doesn't care what the international community says. Eventually they're going to thank this man for doing this, I promise you. It was getting to a point where, October 7th proved it, man. I mean, they're savages. They took the hostages. They can't live peacefully with you guys, so I don't blame you, and that's all I gotta say.
Yes, Nicole, what do you want to respond to? Nicole, you come up now, you want to respond? Do you like Bibi the same as the mountain like Bibi?
Oh, Quisha, don't you have something to say?
I'm sorry, this room sucks now because 4 is gone. Everybody's on the same side on stage right now.
Dude,
everybody's on the same side. We all agree. We all agree that Palestine is a fucking shithole. Can we all agree on that?
Hello. I think the whole region of the world is shithole. Shelby, if there was an earthquake and it all got sunk in the middle of this fucking ocean, that would be God doing justice.
Does anyone say hello back? Or is it just me?
Nobody likes you.
Okay, John, but you didn't see you to my friends. Only friends. Man, mute yourself, man. I want to improve. I don't know the thing. Yeah, mute yourself, man. I'm talking to you again. Roach, I haven't heard you tonight. Speak. B-R-U-C-E, Bruce.
That's the way? Okay.
No. No, it's not that.
So hello and welcome to the last room. You will listen there, you will sit, and when class speaks, you will listen. Quiet. Now, anyone have anything interesting to share?
Yes, I'd like to make a suggestion that if we all want to live in a state of coexistence, each and every one of us has to go within and find the joy and positive vibration of love at the very center. Hold on to that love. Otherwise, you might come on social audio chat apps and scream limitless vulgarities and profanities, driving yourself and other people insane. I am complete.
You can almost this room just to interrupt, but in mine, you will not interrupt. Thank you very much. John, thank you. I think you can land your plane. That was very interesting. Love to see Baby and Norm in this room, as well as Shake Sister, and anyone. I'm sorry about how earlier I was updating constantly.
Yes, thank you. I will just land my plane by saying, hang on to the center, because that's where the love is at. Go within and don't let people just do endless chatter as if it's reading Torah or getting any kind of wisdom inside your positive vibration. So hold on to the best books you got and love everything you have, including all the women in your life, especially women. You should really love all the women in your life with all your love inside your heart, because it's women that hold up half the sky. I am complete.
That is very true, Josh, because love is love. Now, would anyone else like to share here? I see you being on the stage, you have a lot to say, and you are always trying to out-me as a Zionist, which is not true, of course. And I see Norm, the instigator, who is barely willing
listen to the Palestinian narrative and always makes up a narrative of his own.
I've heard it so many times.
Here.
It's like hearing the same weird story over and over again. I have come to believe, Maz, and thank you for your greeting and Shabbat Shalom to you, that the entire idea of Palestinianism is a Soviet op. It's a Soviet operation. It was never designed to liberate so-called Palestinians. It was never designed to create a Palestinian state, and it certainly was never designed to create an Israel and Arab relationship of peace. It was designed to first attack Israel as an American force in the Middle East during the Cold War, and then after the fall of the Soviet Union, what was left was Palestinians empty-handed, with nothing that they wanted, with nothing that they had fought for, and with no real plan to live in peace with their neighbors. So because I have no evidence that Palestinians have a desire to live in peace with their neighbors, I can only conclude that they do not want so. And therefore, there's going to have to be a demilitarization of Palestinian areas or Arab areas, whatever you want to call them, to prevent them from committing violence, both against Israelis and against their own people. That's my conclusion. But don't they?
Oh, no, Norm, you stand the boss. I love it. I fucking.
Yo, Virginia.
Needed to be true or not.
This woman not only developed feelings for her contract marriage husband, but also became pregnant with his child.
Nan-in, a Japanese master during the Meiji era, received a university professor who came to inquire about Zen. Nan-in served tea. He poured his visitor's cup full, then kept on pouring. The professor watched the overflow until he no longer could restrain himself. It is over full, no more will go in. Like this cup, Nan-in said. You are full of your own opinions and speculations. How can I show you Zen unless you first empty your cup? Gudo was the emperor's teacher of his time. Nevertheless, he used to travel alone as a wandering mendicant. Once when he was on his way to Edo, the cultural and political center of the shogunate, he approached a little village named Takenaka. It was evening and a heavy rain was falling. Gudo was thoroughly wet. His straw sandals were in pieces. At a farmhouse near the village, he noticed 4 or 5 pairs of sandals in the window and decided to buy some dry ones. The woman who offered him the sandals, seeing how wet he was, invited him to remain for the night in her home. Gudo accepted, thanking her. He entered and recited a sutra before the family shrine. He then was introduced to the woman's mother and to her children. Observing that the entire family was depressed, Gudo asked what was wrong. My husband is a gambler and a drunkard, the housewife told him. When he happens to win, he drinks and becomes abusive. When he loses, he borrows money from others. Sometimes when he becomes thoroughly drunk, he does not come home at all. What can I do? I will help him, said Guido. Here is some money. Get me a gallon of fine wine and something good to eat. Then you may retire. I will meditate before the shrine. When the man of the house returned about midnight, quite drunk, he bellowed, Hey, wife, I'm home. Have you something for me to eat?
Not appropriate at all. This is very wrong.
Yeah, so my question.
I know you're taking.
So my question for you. No, so Pepe, my question for you, did you get, oh no, you're still here, okay, sick. Okay, Pepe, so I get that you're trolling at that moment, but what I would say is that I actually think that you should look at what the fuck is going on in the UK right now, and have alarm bells going off on where you live. And I would say that.
You asked me about the Muslims?
Oh, dude, yeah.
Yeah, I want every Muslim kicked out of the West, period. That's always been my stance. No Muslims.
I'll say things that I mean, like, I don't know, like, you know, like my defense of gun rights, for example. The MAGA version of protecting gun rights is to grab the guns first and worry about due process later. And so, you know, if with friends like them, who needs enemies?
What do you think of recent discussions at the House? Sorry. In that room today.
I liked it. I really enjoyed it. I think you guys all did a good job. I like seeing all of you up there to kind of represent the different perspectives, you know? I think it gave a lot of balance to it.
I'm having a hard time hearing you. Let me, I mean, I liked the room. I thought, you know, Hanson enjoyed it, or Anson. I think, you know, there's a lot of very difficult questions you can ask. But, you know, for me, out of sight, out of mind, like, I try not to think too much in terms of that. You can kind of waste a lot of time thinking about all these grandiose problems that are so universal or at scale that, you know, basically, like, it could have been at the gym, you know? It's an opportunity cost to be here to have these conversations. So, I mean, I like to try to kill two birds with one stone and maximize the value of my time here on this app in the same way that you do. So, you know, when you waste time here having endless arguments and heated conversations, it makes it stressful, I think, as a listener, to experience that.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Real quick, I was just gonna say, you know, with the balanced moderation, like, you had a lot of opinions, differing opinions, not necessarily everybody agreeing on that stage, but you had this level of balanced moderation, and it's always interesting to me when a room like that goes well, where you have people kind of from all ends of the spectrum talking and communicating, you kind of come to the conclusion that everybody's really not that far apart on a lot of issues. It's just the little nuances that tend to create, like, the big differences. And when you can actually have those conversations, like, it helps me to understand the left side of things a little better, because there's an opportunity to kind of hear everybody lay out, like, well, I feel this way because of X, Y, and Z, and it's like, oh, I didn't know that that's kind of what was the motivating factor behind that. And so I like to get those well-rounded perspectives, because I like to consider it from all the angles.
Yeah, I think balancing the stage, at least the moderation, because you can't really determine who's going to show up for the room. It does help, and I agree with you. I thought that it was fascinating that until you shared your thoughts, Serendipity, everybody was pretty much in agreement that, like, no, U.S. troops should definitely not be used in that fashion. And then I think Adams agreed with you, but you know, I think Anson, myself, and Moose, we represent some very different ways of thinking about what government's role is, but we all agreed for different reasons that pretty bad idea to get U.S. troops involved going after drug cartels.
Yeah, and the thing of it is that there are a lot of reasons why I don't think getting the troops involved is maybe not the best decision. And again, like I told you too, I do kind of feel like it's trying to put a Band-Aid over a bleeding artery, taking that. Because while it will have an immediate impact, you know there's always somebody willing to fill the vacuum. You cut off the head of the snake, you know, there's always.
The potential for civilian casualties being lost and the potential for living back between the U.S. and Mexico. I mean, there's a lot of reasons not to do it. But I don't know, the law enforcement issue is a big issue for me too. I think there's a lot of corruption here, and I think that because of that corruption, law enforcement tends to focus on the big busts that are going to generate lots of extra funds for them, and to let all the other stuff go.
Mojo, let me ask you a question. You make a great argument all the time for the Second Amendment, and the incumbent I'm running against, Darren LaHood in Rockford, Peoria, he's a gun grabber that wants to raise the age of the minimum age to buy what they call an assault rifle. So I'm just wondering, you know, if we really enacted the Second Amendment nationwide in the same way that like Georgia or Texas have open carry laws and a lot more lenient licensing and no database tracking, et cetera, on the whole, couldn't we save a lot of money on the NDA and our national defense by essentially arming our population and giving us, you know, great gun rights once again?
That's not the argument that I would use against your opponent. The argument that I would use would be one that speaks to his constituents and believes that he wants something to do on concept.
Focus on the history of how gun rights, specifically the prohibition, has been very racistly applied. And it targets poor people. Everything from wood taxes to registration fees. I would tackle how it's discrimination against poor people and specifically people of color. That is where his constituents would have their ears perk up. I think you could make other arguments that would make your constituents' ears perk up, but if you get an opportunity to debate him or have his constituents listen, those are the points that I would hit. I would meet them where they're at with and talk to them about something that they care more about, which is you know, discrimination.
Raising the age won't do anything. I mean, you get a driver's license, 17, some states 16. The average vehicle, the average car on the road doing 70 miles an hour is far more dangerous to the general public. Yeah.
Not to mention most of the kids that use guns come from their parents anyway.
Exactly. I think there was that case that set a precedent. I think it was two parents. Last year, school shooting, two parents that were both actually tried separately for involved in manslaughter.
They were negligent moves. Like,
I'm not saying they were wrong. I was all for it. I mean, I say they're wrongly convicted, but that is,
So I guess to say you can say that, like, law enforcement or courts are not aware of the problem with to your point, the parents and guns.
It tickled the hairs on the back of my neck when I found out that they were pursuing the parents, but then when you read the details of the case, it was just like, yeah, they were clearly negligent. Like, you know, you just see that start being legislated, but there was just no question about it in that particular case.
I think an interesting angle in the gun argument is to talk about how the policies that people are prescribing do not impact criminals, they impact law-abiding citizens. And then in order to, instead of just shooting down all the laws, actually propose. This is what advocates of the Second Amendment do not do enough of. I think we should be proposing, well, what is the solution? If we think that all of their ideas are bad, what is a good idea? And I think one of the good ideas would be to target laws that specifically target criminals. And one of the areas is with straw purchases. If you could just simply say we should have zero tolerance against straw purchases, because it's definitely harder to prosecute a straw purchase, but if you do prosecute somebody for a straw purchase, I think that's where you want like a mandatory minimum of something like 10 years, 20 years, something crazy. Because then what you're doing as a gun advocate is you're proposing a law that's super aggressive towards gun violence, but you're completely leaving law-abiding citizens alone. That's the thing that some people don't do when they're applying these laws.
Yeah, another thing that I don't think that GA advocates bring up enough either is, comparatively speaking, the number of crimes that are stopped because of lawful abiding gun carrying citizens. Those numbers are staggering, and you very, very rarely hear those numbers come up when you hear people debating it.
So what is a liberal Democrat? Is there a difference between a populist liberal social democrat? I mean, at what point does it not just become a demonstration of an inversion or a reversal of, status quo and culture? I mean, what is a liberal Democrat?
Well, I would say that liberalism advocates for individual rights, and any Democrat that's advocating for collective rights is liberal.
I'd like to see you do some spicy topics in the rational discussion house too.
Of course, there's always the typical, abortion and
Here's the problem with pro-lifers. I'll pick on them for a second, because it's easier to pick on the other side because they just want to rule babies. But let's pick on the pro-lifers for a second. They make the argument that it's an innocent life, but then they completely shit on your own argument and confront the question of what about rape or incest? And they're afraid to answer
that it's murder, because if it's an innocent life,
then it would matter if it's rape or incest, because your argument is that life is its own separate life, and that the sanctity of life is important and it's worth protecting. And so some of these discomfiture of carrying that baby, and again, this isn't my position, it's just shooting down the inconsistency of the pro-life argument. If they really believe that life begins at conception and they're dedicated to protecting those lives, then when somebody asks them, what about cases of rape and incest, they would say, doesn't matter. That's the only logical that's the only consistent argument that they can make. And the moment they capitulate on that, you've really got them in checkmate, because they don't actually believe that it's a life being killed.
Of course, it's the hypocrisy of them.
How does it make, doesn't logically make sense to kill people who are killing people? It's just more murder, but they are sanctioned and protected by the law. And, you know, it's a big racket. The point is, I think instead of taxpayers funding the racket, they should fund the mothers if they want the money. If you want $10,000 to have a baby versus giving $10,000 to an abortion doctor to murder your child, I say let's give the $10K to the woman so she can choose. You know, I think a lot of these women that go to Planned Parenthood, about $60,000 a month, might opt in for a check versus having their children destroyed in their uterus. That's what I'm proposing. Yeah, I'm campaigning on that. I say cut the $1 billion a month in spending for Planned Parenthood. Stop killing 60,000 babies a month in this country. We have a population decrease happening because of the COVID-19 vaccinations. The mortality rate from COVID-19 vaccinations in 2020 is 20% higher than the average. I'm just saying, let's stop killing our people with big pharma, health insurance, abortionists. Let's let our people live. I'm just saying, let's set our priorities straight. Let's get our priorities in order. Let's get a to-do list going.
And you should stop pointing your semen at an egg. If you truly don't want
You haters of me down kids. But if we wanted to really socially engineer things in a way that would have the outcomes that people say they want, what we would do is just encourage people that aren't married to just be gay. Because you're not going to create babies if you're having homosexual sex. And so people will say that that's an absurd argument. Well, what about what I'm attracted to? Well, if the problem that you're trying to solve is you don't want unwanted pregnancies, you don't want abortions, you don't want child out of wedlock, whatever the problem is you're trying to solve, all of that stuff goes away if they're just gay.
Perfect. It's perfect, Lon.
Like, there's the problem. Stop. Immediately terminate your heterosexual attraction and realize, you know,
It's just a bell-shaped curve, though. The media and the culture or the government can influence the homosexual or bisexual, you know, index. But I mean, for 30 days, where every business is displaying a rainbow flag, I mean, you know, is that new in American culture and society or historical? I'd say it's probably still about on average. The point is, you know, we're spending $1 billion every single, I think is it minute? I can't remember. No, every single hour, basically. 20 billion a day, and there's 24 hours. So we're literally spending at the federal level $1 billion every single hour. And, you know, only 600 million of that is collected in taxes, and maybe 400 million is just borrowed. So, when does it ever end? When does the cycle of graft and lobbying and disbursement of funds, when does it ever end? Will it ever end? Or should it ever end? That is the question in a liberal democracy today. Well, you could look at the international government debts of all governments, Japan, et cetera. Look at the debt to GDP, and the fact that if we are borrowing this much right now, and these other governments, like Spain, for example, owes like 1.2 trillion, 1.6 trillion. It's very high in the European index in terms of GDP and total debt. So if that is the paradigm or the equilibrium or the balance of the global currency system, we are actually in a very good place, knowing how much we are doing currency manipulation. We're getting away with it, and we're accusing everybody else of doing it. That's why Trump is so great. Yeah, it's empire. When the Indians... when the British had a major revolution on their hands in India, and they were really worried they were going to lose it. And so guess what they did? They mounted the biggest parade effort in their military, civilizational history, and they mesmerized the Indians. The Indians all lined up and were like, wow, look at this parade. And so they hypnotized all the Indians into basically becoming submissive again, just with that communication, a show of force. So, I'm just wondering if America does show of force politics all the time. So I'm just wondering, when the next show of force will be, because our dollar demands it. I think debt resolution is real because I myself have a very large amount of debt, and I know that I am willing to do a meeting of the minds, but unfortunately the lender or the banker or the lawyer or the judge on the other end of this equation, we don't seem to have a meeting of the minds. But I think at the civilizational, super empire level, supranational, meeting of the minds with the world's largest nuclear, weaponry. I mean, our aircraft carriers are powered by nuclear power, and they're huge, and they carry nuclear bombs and we have an incredibly well-educated fleet of officers who can exact justice around the world. But I'm just asking, is that really justice? Unless it's a just war, I think you have a lot of veterans who are maybe kind of disgruntled. Like, there's a lot of Afghanistan vets and Iraqi vets who aren't so sure about why they were there. And I'm just asking, if it's not a just war, it doesn't sit well in the stomach. Well, I hate to throw the axe cord around. I'm just being facetious, but if, see, people want to ask me why I say ask instead of asking me my opinions on certain things like the budget or the deficit or the national debt and the unfunded liabilities. I don't know how many CPAs we have in the house, but $100 trillion. Try 110,000, 120,000, or maybe 400 or 600,000 for the unfunded liabilities, because the unfunded liabilities are 4 times that of the funded liabilities. So if everybody owes 110,000 on the funded, everybody owes 440,000 in the unfunded liabilities. Prove to me my math is wrong. I have asked Grok many times, what is the difference between funded and unfunded liabilities? Guess what Grok's answer is, Dr. Moose? I can't give you the answer. I'd have to ask Grok again exactly how they define it. But the total sum debt is about 150 trillion. So that's the mind-blowing part, is you can toss around 37 trillion all the time, but when you actually bring up the real number of about 150 trillion, it's mind-blowing. So, if you are a libertarian and you think we have too much regulation, I'm just saying, whatever the numbers on USDebtClock.org say, the unfunded, I think it says 101 trillion, 110 trillion, and the funded is 37 trillion. See, funded liabilities versus unfunded liabilities sort of implies that, we're necessarily on the hook for the unfunded because they were never approved for funding. So I think, it's a little bit of a language game here. Well, these are pension obligations, etc. In Chicago, they have a major pension crisis, but the city of Chicago is about $50 billion in debt. The state of Illinois is about $200 billion in debt. And when you ask Grok, do they have to borrow to pay the pensions, even though they're $50 billion in debt and only bring in about $15 billion a year in budget, and $10 billion a year in revenue. So they're absolutely paying the pensions by borrowing and adding to the overall debt. It's a word game. It's decentralized and dispersed to every single social security card number bearing American that there is. You are literally in the ledger through the social security number. I mean, it's all one giant network, and you don't feel it, and you really don't feel it because inflation isn't a big problem. It's a problem, but it's not hyperinflation. We're not there yet. We got to get to about 2050 to where we start getting into like absolute hyperinflation, where eggs are, $40, $30, a thing of milk is $30, like that type of a grocery store situation for a lot of people who didn't move up, their earnings. I mean, it'll be catastrophic, but what I'm saying is we shouldn't even get there. That's stupid to inflate our money like that and think that they can run the Federal Reserve and Congress like this fiat inflation bubble system. That's stupid economics. that's running a pizza shop at a loss for 25 more fucking years. No, you shut the pizza shop down. You reopen something else. Yeah, you need taxpayer funding to do that, which is fucked up, isn't that? It's always going back to the taxpayer. Let's stop fucking the taxpayer. Let's stop fucking the voter. Let's stop fucking our citizens.
Has unfunded liabilities larger than the U.S. national debt currently.
Say that like it's investment.
See, that makes sense, Mojo, that, you know, it is 50 trillion, because if we're already spending 4 trillion on Medicare, Medicaid, and you know, blow that up by 10x over the next 25 years. See, that's the thing. It's like, over what time frame is that 50 trillion? Like, where do they get that $100 trillion unfunded liabilities number from? It's just a forward projection, but you know, this isn't liberal democracy, and it's not capitalism. What do you call it? Like crony fascism, fiat capitalism? So what? We just elect a new dictator every 4 years, and that's never gonna, like, that's the game. Is the dictator will never ever go back against economic fascism.
Like a virtual pinball machine, and all of a sudden,
for a certain angle that the ball might take, now the ball's stuck and it's not moving. I have a feeling that that's what we're going to get to the point of the unintended consequence, which is going to be that the system is just going to break. And then at that point, I think what we do is we tell those foreign entities that we owe money to, as well as corporations, to go pound sand. And then the unfunded liabilities, we just tell the American people, sorry, we're not keeping these promises. And then we just hit a reset button. And if that's the inevitability, then my question is, why don't we just hurry up and do that?
You know, I couldn't hear you, Hakima, but Mojo, I think there's like a generational component or a time value of generations, meaning that Chairman Powell, Chairman Trump, like they are more than happy to shake hands and let the status quo be and let bygones be bygones. I think that any kind of, I mean, I've told you this before, that there's like a 99.99% chance that status quo now will be the status quo in the future now, and there will be no actual, you know, deregulation in terms of, I guess, marketplaces. It seems to me like everything is totally bitted up, chopped up, completely organized to the highest extent possible. Therefore, like any kind of actual philosophical economic change most likely won't happen. It's so easy to say that the system is going to pop, but you know, I follow Peter Schiff, and I've read many of his father's books, Erwin Schiff's books, and Peter is killing two birds with one stone by being a financial advisor and claiming that the Federal Reserve and the U.S. dollar is going to crumble, and that if you invest in his gold stocks and in his gold indexes and use him as your asset manager, you stand the greatest chance of surviving the crash. He's, you know, brilliant in that regards because he plays the contrarian. And a lot of people are contrarians. but the chances are that he's just trying to improve his status in the status quo. So I think that's the actual truth, is you have to play the game to improve your status in the status quo, but the status quo will persist because the system is so bitted and well organized. No, I've never read it. I think creators and entrepreneurs eventually do get exhausted with the game, but property taxes are so high that in many ways you can't stop working. And your retirement is at risk with massive pensions and all these unfunded liabilities. And the only way they can get their money seems to be property taxes. So, you know, the solution for long-term financial survival could be being in a place that has no property taxes.
Opt for tax increases over that, just because it's the devil that they know.
This is the hagfish. Forget scales, forget bones, even a jaw. Wrinkled and pale, it slithers through the abyss with a single powerful nostril, a super sniffer that detects the faintest whiff of a deceased creature from miles away. But how does this bungless wonder actually eat? Hidden under its chin lies a toothy safely inside its feast, the hagfish deploys this weapon, scraping and shredding flesh with its sharp teeth, a powerful tongue that slurps up the resulting mush. But the hagfish has another trick up its slimy sleeve. When threatened, it unleashes a truly remarkable defense mechanism. Slime, expanding a mind-boggling 10,000 times in water, this slime creates a tangled mess of protein threads that disorients and confuses any attacker. This slimy escape plan is so effective, predators leave frustrated, leaving the hagfish ready to continue its deep-sea scavenging.
Did you expect the meat drop to go that hard?
See, 19, and not saying that black people were indigenous to the United States.
I'm talking about. That's exactly what those numbers show. They reclassify people to the black population. That's how it proves. That's the only way it can go to the numbers. If they put other groups of people together that all look the same and make them one group of people, that's the only way the population can grow that way. The only way.
Let me ask ChatGPT. Hold on. We should invite all the ladies to come up. I like when the ladies are up here.
And another thing that's crazy, when you look at the numbers, you break the European, you break every, not just European, you break every number nationality. It's more black people. We have the third largest group. First is Germans, then it's Mexicans, then it's Black Americans, then it's Irish, then it's English. We have the Irish beat by like 5 million. We have the English beat by 15 million. Somehow them Germans sneaky as fuck, because there's 44 million of them. I'm not sure how that happened. I did read into how they was allowed to come. The Germans were pretty good. But it took about almost 10 million Germans to get to 44 million. At the same time, it took 388,000 blacks to get to 36 million.
Alright, so let me tell you what ChatGPT is telling me. So starting point, 1619, the first documented group of Africans arrived in English colonies in Virginia in 1619, around 20 to 30 people. Over the next 200 years, more Africans were brought through the transatlantic slave until it was banned in 1808 in the U.S. and through natural population growth. Let's see. Step 2. The slave trade in early growth. Historians estimate that 388,000 Africans were brought directly to what became the U.S. between 1619 and 1808. By the first census in 1790, there were 757,000 black people, both enslaved and free, roughly 19% of the total population. From there, growth was mostly natural increases, births minus death, because the slave trade had ended. And then pre-Civil War expansion from 1790 to 1860. In 1790, 757,000 black Americans. In 1860, 4.4 million black Americans. This huge jump was from high birth rates and relative stable survival rates. Even under slavery, the enslaved population had a higher birth rate than death rate, which is unusual in most of the Caribbean and South America where conditions were deadlier. Post-Civil War growth from 1865 to 1900. Emancipation freed 4 million people. By 1900, 8.8 million black Americans. This doubling over 40 years fits a natural growth rate of 1.7 per year. 20th century growth. 1900, we had 8.8 million. By 1950, we're up to 15 million. Industrialization, better healthcare, migration to cities. By 2000, there was 36 million. Medical advances, lower infant mortality, longer life expectancy, continued high fertility into the mid-20th century. And today, the census of 2020 has 41 million people identifying as Black alone, 46 million if you include identifying as Black in combination with another race. That's an average growth rate of roughly 2.1 per year over 230 years, with most of it coming from natural increase rather than immigration. Post-slave trade immigration from Africa and Caribbean is a much more recent, smaller factor. So the simple math is, it went from 388,000 to 41 million at a growth rate of 2.1.
Okay, now ask why the Black Americans outpace white Americans at such a large mark. Like, why, like, how is it possible that Black Americans grew 100 times and they only grew 5 times? Like, how is that? Let's break that down.
Let's see. I'll ask. These are good questions. It actually says no. The Black population in the U.S. has never outpaced white Americans in terms of total numbers or growth rate over a long run. Here's why. Starting numbers were vastly different. In 1790, the first census, where there was 3.17 million white Americans versus 757,000 Black Americans. Whites already outnumbered Blacks 4-1. Both groups grew mainly by natural increase. What's the number? Looking for the actual percentage. What's the actual percentage? Tell me about that. Ask it again. What was the growth rate per year by race? Okay. Let's see. Okay, so the white population growth rate started in 1790. We had 3.17, and then by 1860 was up to 27 million. They went from 3 to 27 in the same period of time where Blacks went from 750,000 to 4.4 million.
Well, now that's immigration.
Well, we're talking about population growth, so.
You just said birth rate, but we can't put birth rate with immigration.
No, I said I typed in growth rate. So the growth rate.
I thought that birth rate.
So in 1790, there was 3.17 million white people and 757,000 Black people. And if you look at these birth rates, let's see, what's the total? Okay, so if you break it down by era, from 1790 to 1860, whites had a faster birth rate. They were, growth rate, 2.9% per year, where Blacks were at 2.6. So it was 0.3% higher for whites. And then in 1860 to 1900, whites grew at a rate of 2.8%, where Blacks grew at 1.9. From 1900 to 1950, whites 1.7, Blacks 1.2. The only period of time that we have is from 1950 and beyond, where whites grew at 0.7% from 1950 to 2000, and Blacks grew at 1.9%. And then from 2000 to 2020, whites grew at 0.25% and Blacks at 0.6%. So you have at 1950 for the Black growth rate to have surpassed percentage-wise that of whites.
I mean, I'm not going to dispute none of that. At the end of the day, there's something missing. The math still isn't there. If the white stars are more, grew faster, how did the blacks go 100 and white go 4 to 5? I literally, they went from 3 million, with immigration was by 1860, 27 million with immigration. Well, let's do the math. It's 194 million white, 36 million black. You can start, if you go from the starting point, like when the 100X white is. How is it?
Well, the 100X doesn't follow. So you have, you went from, 757 million, or 757,000, I'm sorry, 757,000, from, in 1790 to.
But that's 50X, I'm counting 388, so 750, that's 50X, still 50X because it's 5.
So if you go 757,000 to 41.1 million, versus white people growing from 3.17 to 204. It's interesting. What is the point you're trying to make?
The numbers of blacks grew so much because they mixed a lot of different, a lot of indigenous people, a lot of Moorish people. They put all into one group and called the Negroes. It was a case of genocide. They didn't kill everybody like they said. They reclassified, which had nothing to do. And if I want to drive, I can put up a lot of things and let you know, like when they did what. Like the history is there. Like, they definitely reclassified more than indigenous people with black Negroes. Put them all in one group.
Well, if you want to start in 1619 and you're starting with the number of 25, it's interesting, but that doesn't account for the 388,000 that came later. And but so the total number from 1619 to 2025, the total number, the rate of growth for black is 2.24%, and for whites it's 2.57. So whites have grown faster.
I mean, it's not really. I mean, think about it. We gotta be. Oh, we got 88,000 blacks that brought over here. Not counting the Caribbean, like they say 36 million. They say 41 and 44. We start counting the Caribbean, but they say the foundation of Black America is 36 million. Starting at 388,000 with no zero immigration. White started at 3 million with immigration. They altogether, so that's all the numbers. They got brought in and immigrated. It's 33 million people. That is the number. 33 million people before within the 1800s. That's how many whites. And at that time, it wasn't even a million blacks at that time. And that number, their number went from 33 million up to 104 million. That's what, 5x, maybe 6, or 5.5x. And blacks went from 3x, it would say 750.
But Keelan, I want to agree with you on something here. Your math is not math.
I don't see it outright. It's very clear.
Kiva, what did you think of the Liberia movement?
I think it was good.
I mean, just the idea of the whole back to Africa thing. Like, you think it's a good idea, bad idea?
Can't see nobody back somewhere where it never came from.
Well, now that's fascinating. What do you mean they never came there?
They didn't. I said 388,000 did. The vast majority is mixed into that 388,000. The vast majority didn't have money.
Oh, yeah. How you doing, Roger? Well, I'm doing math on Clubhouse, so it's not the best night. But how are you doing? I'm doing fantastic. First day back in my actual office in 6 days, so that was very interesting. Yeah, no, it was actually a really good day. Really good day. But yeah, so I'm going to go to the gym, and now I'm sitting here listening to you guys talk about raids. So it must just be another day on Clubhouse. What was your theory yesterday that it starts in the morning?
Talks about Trump in the evening. He talks about racism. Is that the progression?
Yeah, you know, for some houses, that's how progression goes. You know, that's the flow of how the conversations tend to evolve on this app. Others, you know, they start at the bottom ladder, they work their way up. Some start in the middle, you know, they skip around to many different topics, but it pretty much follows the same logic pattern and the inability to deviate away from those topics on a daily.
Mojo, I'm wondering if, I'm sure you don't need the money, but I'm wondering if somehow I could convince you to do a organized book room, maybe at least for an hour this upcoming week, where everybody reads from a book for 5 minutes, and hopefully we'll get 20, we'll get an hour's worth of readers. Do you think it would be possible if you would join my room where you created a 1 hour book club room?
What book are we gonna read?
Everybody gets to pick their own book, but everybody gets to do, yeah, whatever book you want.
That's not gonna work. That's not gonna work, because let me tell you exactly what's gonna happen.
It will
You're
work.
gonna have one person that's gonna pick a book by a Zionist, you're gonna have another one that picks a book by Palestinians, then they're gonna argue about who wrote what correctly. Then after that, you're gonna have one person that's going to quote Strom Thurmond, you're gonna have another person who's gonna quote Jesse Jackson, and they're gonna start fighting about race. So I'm telling you, until the usual actors that introduce these topics and deviate the topics away from what we are actually talking about, when we do open up different discussions, until they're held accountable, I don't think that it's possible to even hold a book reading club.
It is possible.
Being an issue.
You
No,
just
I don't
need
think
one
it is.
mod.
I don't think it is.
If someone doesn't want to comply and just do 5 minutes of reading, they'll be kicked to the goop. And the super mod will demand that if you want to participate in the room, you have to read for 5 minutes. But you need to start to draw the crowd, to draw the audience, and to get people to obey the rules of the room, which would be 5 minutes of reading what's called from a book. I'm just merely trying to demonstrate that out of the countless many number of hours that you will spend on this app, if Supermod could demand 5 minutes of reading, it would be a very beneficial and new type of experience for most people who are usually just engaged in conversation. I'm telling you that it would be possible to have a book club on here and to force it, but most people want the short-term dopamine from having, contentious conversations.
Yeah, it's going to turn into a Chomsky Palestinian petting zoo. Give it a week.
Why don't you host one then, John?
I do. I have been doing book club. I have book club houses across multiple profiles, and nobody comes to my rooms, but I'm still doing my own book club.
Across Clubhouse?
Yeah, across 3 different clubhouse profiles.
John, have you ever been part of a book club before?
I have, and it was terrible.
Well, typically what you do is you select a book that everybody reads from, and then if you want to do a book reading from the book club, then we can gather everybody, and then we can take turns every 5 minutes reading from the same book.
I know. But I'm saying because everybody wants to talk, I think a 5-minute book club is the way to go.
What if we pick short books? What if we picked a pamphlet like Common Sense by Thomas Paine, and we got everybody to read Common Sense, and we read it out loud?
You could do that. Yeah, you could do that. You could pin the link and have everybody read from it, like as if you were at some kind of Bible study and everybody takes a turn.
We did a room years ago, some of you might have been there for it, where we were reading the Bill of Rights, and we read them, and we talked about them, and it was a big room, and people were really surprised imagine like the ones we got hung up on, the states' rights stuff was a thing, that, you know, free speech was a thing. Some went really quickly because nobody had a well-informed opinion, but I think you can do this if you just have to get everybody to go and commit to doing the homework, and then those that don't do the homework, if they showed up to the room, they would just hear people reading that did do the homework.
No, I don't think homework assignments are gonna work. It needs to be on-the-spot action, where people literally click the link in the title, and then you read the document for 5 minutes each. Everybody has to read. If you don't read, you're not allowed on stage. If you don't read and you're on stage, you get kicked to the goo. I'm just saying the book club is about maximizing intelligent communication transfer.
All right, let's ask. Hakima, do you want to participate in the book club?
It's not like basic jargon when you hear some shit that makes sense, opposed to this massive jargon. So I tried that. I'm not for it or against it, but I definitely tried that.
Can we start with the book of Revelations? No. Yeehaw. I start with the world is ending. I feel like, well, no, I don't think you read it right. The good guys win.
Yeah.
The world ends. Good guys win, and the world ends with a happily ever after. Well, saying the world ends doesn't sound like happily ever after. No. The world ends and you get to go be with God. That's the happy part, right? You're not separated from it. So don't you think the framing of the world comes to an end is the wrong framing?
No,
I'm trying to keep notes.
we've got dude here, and you know, Marshall just was describing what's called duality versus non-duality. I'm wondering if the dude could enlighten us.
While Dude is getting his thoughts together, I did want to point out how actually significant it was that Mojo kind of turned this into a book club right now, on the spot.
Well,
Yin yang duality, but the different parts of it are dual. The whole of the yin yang is non-dual. Dichotomy is dual. Do you think we'll get more people involved if we read books that were written by women or people of color? Oh, here we go. You're doing it again, Roger. You're doing it again.
see, that's why I say in a liberal democracy versus, let's say, a fascistic government which demands one book or a couple books, you know, that's why I say let people have the freedom of choice in book club to get their 3 to 5 minutes out that they want to read. You know, I love reading poetry, love it. It's ecstatic. And it's so much better than having endless conversations and heated debates.
So, Roger, a topic like affordable housing, for example, if you open up a room to talk about building restrictive codes and how that could potentially violate people's constitutional rights, I guarantee you within the first 30 minutes you're going to talk about how, the building codes are racist, and then you're going to have a bunch of people that are going to fly into the room and then start accusing Jews of perpetuating some oppression on people's building rights. I'm telling you, it all goes back to a couple of central topics that people can't help but itch themselves out of. It's just, I mean, we've seen this before. It sounds like you just brought these topics.
Well, these are political topics, I think, at the end of the day. They don't liberate you, they don't transcend you, there's no information or education there. It's just politics.
They're no longer political topics. They're talking about political subjects, but the topic matter of opening up those spaces in the context of this and the culture of this app is to basically cast aspersions on people's character. Nobody wants to actually argue about the politics at hand. That's the issue.
No, what I'm saying is that is their politics. mean, that's how they do it. I mean, I think all communication is political. So even when you start talking about the debt and the deficit, to me, that's still political rhetoric, propaganda in a way, because the truth is what Franklin Delano Roosevelt said, you do not have to fear fear. The only thing you have to fear is fear itself. So if you fear money or you fear the debt, well, I don't think you understand the games of kind of enforcement. We've got the guns. We've got the aircraft carriers and the tanks and the bombers. You know, it's up to us to lose the war. And I'm not saying we're in a war. I'm just saying that our dollar is backed. And a lot of other countries' currencies aren't backed by force.
Edmund, everything in this country is not political, okay? People put out a freaking Gene ad, okay, and thought that that was political. That wasn't political. People's responses are political. The way they choose to respond, the beliefs behind their responses are political. But people's actions aren't inherently political. I think that we need to delineate what's political and what's just...
Well, I just find it as a communication. Not action, but communication. It's the word, the transmission of words into our brains versus going in the streets and, you know, getting into a fight with a police officer or something to that extent. I think the non-action is more important than the action, because if you're breaking the law and you're an anarchist versus somebody on a social audio chat trying to increase your education and intelligence, or if you're just going to speak politics all day long, it's your opportunity cost. But the teacher or the educator hopefully tries to wake people up and say, hey, you know, now is all important. Stop thinking and end your problems.
Anybody see any of the horsemen lately?
The horsemen.
Yep, there's 4 horsemen at the end of the world. Revelations.
Well, what's the magic word? Anyone here know what the super secret 4-letter magic word is? I mean, I think you could say LOVE is actually maybe more important than the GOD, but that's like 3 versus 4. But I'm just trying to say that, you know, you can turn any word into a mantra. Love is a great mantra, but it also implies hate or disgust or anger. What's the opposite of love? So, you know, if you've ever been in a loving relationship and then how it morphed or turned into an absolute contrarian position, you wonder, how could that be?
So why do people always speak about these type of topics as though there's either one or the other? Like, have you ever heard of indifference?
Indifference?
Right. So what does indifference mean?
It means agnosticism, which means you don't have a definitive position. You're not all or nothing. You're not going to die on a hill for your position. That's what a lot of people on this app do. And it's road raging, really.
Right, and that's my whole point. I feel like people don't exploit the existence of indifference enough. You know, there's some shit on this app that, you know, yeah, many of my Republican counterparts care about. And a lot of those things I don't really give a shit about. Doesn't affect me, don't care. You know, that's between you and whoever it is that you're doing it with. I don't care. But people don't allow people to be indifferent. You either have to be on one side or you have to be on the other. You can remain indifferent. And when you remain indifferent, you have people on both sides casting aspersions on your character, trying to create you in the identity of the opposite side of their beliefs in a way that is disingenuous from your position as being indifferent.
Well, like, you could be attentive and aware without having made a choice in that dichotomy that you set for, right? You don't have to be ignorant or indifferent. You can be attentive and aware and not not dual mindset, but aware and attentive.
Okay, so let's look at the history of this app, and let's look at different topics where people were not allowed to be at different COVID. Can we start there? Can you guys resonate with my opinion on where the history of this app has disallowed people from being able to experience this app in the same way that everybody else is, able to experience? Is if, you have to take some sort of side. I mean, why are we not uplifting people who are just indifferent? I feel like that's where the real conversation takes place.
Well, with regards to COVID, medical misinformation will not be tolerated by the medical industrial complex and the censorship platforms. And they proved that. They eliminated 30 of my accounts. They deleted tens of thousands of people who spoke out against max injections.
Well, but they're not done with it yet. The other day, we changed the title to what was worse, vaccinations or the disease. And that was the only room within the last week that got shadow banned. So, just putting those words in the title in 2025 is a problem.
Yeah, on YouTube, they have a medical misinformation policy. You can't talk about. There are verboten topics that you can't talk about because you don't agree with the health outcomes of what Pfizer, Moderna, J&J, and 10 other big pharma distributors and doctors tell you is good for your health. I asked Grok today, what are the 10 health benefits of getting the COVID-19 vaccines? It's really interesting. And then I asked, give me the contrarian position to all the bullet points you just gave me. And sure enough, Grok will give me the alternative positions. But the first response is always the consensus, never the contrarian position. So I asked Grok, for all future questions, also give me the contrarian alternative position to whatever your answer is. And please save that setting. So hopefully my AI chatbot, Grok, will always remember my preferred settings. Can anyone here tell me what the health benefits were of getting, or are the benefits of getting the COVID-19 vaccine? Anyone here feel like there's any real health benefits?
Yes, a bunch of liberals will stop nagging the shit out of you. You'll have a little bit of a peace. I'm sure that will make your blood pressure go down.
I mean, how do you weigh the health benefits of a COVID-19 vaccine versus having like a chopped chicken salad and going to the gym that day? So what, anyone here know what a solipsist is? Solipsism? Anyone know what solipsism is or solipsists? Well, I've heard it said that a solipsist believes that nothing really exists outside of his mind. And so Alan once, he was joking, he said it's kind of funny to go to a conference of solipsists and just meet people who think everything is like a construct of the brain is the central constructor of their reality. Their reality is like the ultimate reality. So it kind of puts everybody right back in the now, because in kind of in a way, we are all experiencing reality through our own little tunnel vision. And this app is technically a solipsistic app. Everybody here has their all or nothing position. That's why I say, like, is a future communication, event horizon on the bill? Is it in the future? Like, is there going to be, because when you look at all this technology, in a way, it's just like fascination span. How can we, create a new moth to, flame with a moth? Like, there's no real innovation happening. Like, IQ is going down. The endless doom scroll. There's just zombies out there, not moving, looking at their cell phones, consuming, videos and pictures, and being stimulated by it. But how do we enhance education with future generations in a way that has never been done before? Because if we can't generate more revenue and create, new industries or breakthrough technologies, we're just a bunch of consumer drone slaves. And there will be no way to get out of this fiat hyperinflation bubble that we have created. We could ask Caleb down there, you know, what does the Toyota say about economic development? Because I don't think relying on a debt jubilee to essentially consolidate or have a new meeting of the minds with regards to the accounting, the numbers, the responsibilities, I don't think that's going to happen. But I could be wrong. Heck, come on, what do you think about that? Do you think it's a good thing when bankers, lawyers, and judges forgive that? Do you know who one of Chicago's biggest lenders are? Who manages Chicago's $50 billion in debt? Bank of America.
Did they get rid of 15 I think you go buy her basketball, her skating park, basketball court. She got I actually went back and reviewed it, but I went back and reviewed what she got off and I guess she did something. She did something.
What would be a bigger gift, you know, to your constituents? Cutting their tax rate by 50% for their income and their property, or building them a skate park?
Skate park is not more than a skate park. You have nothing to do. Like, I get what you're saying about spending money and all that, but like kids need something to do. Not especially things like that. I don't believe that it's true. I said the skate park is only going to stop it, but it's definitely regulations.
Well, if the city of Chicago owes $50 billion and they were to cut property taxes by 100%, or say 80%, and then the city went into a financial crisis because it couldn't service its liabilities, its expenditures, it would force the city into a bankruptcy. And guess who's gonna have to foot the bill? Bank of America and all their shareholders. It would be very bad for Bank of America shareholders. But you know what it would relieve a lot of pressure on? Homeowners who can't afford ever rising property taxes. So I'm just wondering, you know, as a collective or a group of individuals who all share the same burden, why do we put the burden on ourselves, the homeowners, and not force the government into some type of debt reconciliation or meeting of the minds or bankruptcy?
Citizens are cowards. The government really has, although it's saying it will be the citizens that the power will be not giving it away out of fear to the government. We're scared to say anything to them. We're scared to change. We're stuck in this two-party system. To the
Well, we are locked in a racket in basically property tax appeal lawyers, the commissioners, and the property tax authority board in every major city and town. It's the same game. I mean, people go to college, go to law school to get out to work in property assessment and property tax reevaluation appeals. You know, when you don't pay your taxes, they will take your home for you. But if you hire a lawyer to appeal your tax assessment bill, they can get it lowered and they're gonna take a percentage of that. So the fix is in, the network is there, it's a business, and it's not gonna be dissolved or liquidated because some political upstart says, hey, let's stop doing this. There's just too many cookies in that hand jar, and, you know, you see my point? Like, you can't change it, it's already there. So, you know, Clown House in a way is like a thought exploration or an analysis of the situation. But nothing will change. All you can do, in my opinion, in conversations is try to accurately describe the situation. And, you know, that's why I said to my mom, I was like, Mom, we should have a show called Let's Complain About Everything and be as cheap as possible.
Sorry, on what? What are the new things that you think, what are the topics you propose that we should speak about?
I mean, again, I guess we want to talk about like local politics and, you know, different cities kind of examining where the problems are going wrong. I feel like that could have more of an inspirational impact on things that directly affect their everyday life. But arguing about a bunch of people in Washington when they accuse, you know, people refuse to acknowledge that they directly have a lot of control over those said people's, you know, presence in their position. I mean, I feel like it's just very dishonest. So if they want to have a conversation about local politics, I'm all for that.
How many people on this stage or audience or just on Clubhouse in general do you think are involved in politics? Like, whether it's an occasional school board meeting, city council meeting, any lifting up a finger, like what percentage of this app do you think does that?
3.
Yeah, I'd say it's single digits. I would say you're still aggressive. I would say it's closer to 23.
Where do you think, just curiosity, subject, I'm not the camera, this topic of that is not done to death. Where does adult vasectomy fall in Planned Parenthood with Republican versus Democrat?
So, for one, do you believe that Planned Parenthood is designed by and large to address the issue of sexual health beyond just abortion? I mean, do you really believe that that's where they're it's like I'm trying to understand what your understanding of what Planned Parenthood is designed to do.
I'm trying to understand, like where you think it needs to fall under, whatever people's views are, what their understanding is of it, if it's effective, how young, how old.
Why are vasectomies the topic of interest for you? And is this the type of question that an AI chatbot would be better suited to give us a more accurate response?
Well, the majority of the people in here are men, and vasectomies affect the male body, and it would be interesting to talk about because it's not something that's frequently talked about amongst exotic things, and so I think it would be really interesting to hear people's opinions are.
At some point, when we discuss a vasectomy, does it ever get to a cream pie? And I ask that with a grain of salt, because technically, if you get a vasectomy as a man and you want a cream pie, I'm not trying to be crude here. I'm just saying, is that why men get a vasectomy?
John. So going back to Kristen's point, as far as Planned Parenthood and them offering vasectomies, my question to you is, on the scale of the services that Planned Parenthood provides, how often do you think that they're providing vasectomies?
I don't know.
Let me ask Brock.
If we're providing a significant amount of vasectomies, I'm telling you, their business model would be highly flawed in the nature of why they're designed to be there. And I'm being very honest with you, Kristen. Like, I believe that Planned Parenthood is designed to kill babies. There is a reason why Planned Parenthood is not strategically placed in areas that can benefit from having additional access to mechanisms of sexual health, such as senior communities. I mean, have you looked at the STD rates amongst the senior population? Yet you don't see any Planned Parenthoods, put in places like, Leisure World. Do you? I mean, a lot of those seniors that don't have access to cars that otherwise could benefit from that sexual health, again, but the access to be able to get tested, the access to be able to address certain. Okay, Marcus, do you want to speak, or are you going to allow me to speak? So the thing is,
These fish may look like they're dead and dried up, but they are actually alive. Just take a look at these guys. They are actually alive. Just take a look at these guys. With their dried up scales, they look dead as a doornail. How is that even possible? They're known as plecos, or armored zombie fish, and for good reason. Well, it all comes down to a crazy organ they have called a labyrinth that lets them breathe air and extract oxygen, even from the worst water. That's not all. They can go 30 hours without a single drop of H2O. And get this, scientists have found them surviving under layers of hardened mud 4 months without water, just waiting for the rain to come save them. With skills like that, it's no wonder they've taken over ecosystems around the world, released by careless aquarium owners. They have nothing to fear from predators. So, if you ever see a pleco that looks deader than dead, don't be fooled. These fish may look like they're dead and dried up, but they are actually alive. Just take a look at these guys. With their dried up scales, they look dead as a doornail. How is that even possible? They're known as plecos, or armored zombie fish, and for good reason. Well, it all comes down to a crazy organ.
So,
So, 2008 and 2022, the infection rates for chlamydia alone, population 65 and older compared to 3%. Marcus, let me ask you a question. Okay, so I think that we're having a problem where my audio is not reaching your ears and you're not hearing us. And we're recording it. So again, I'm going to finish my question. I'm going to finish my question, Mark. I'm going to finish my question. Math to say that Planned Parenthood is designed to specifically meet the needs of women. Look at what they should say. That's what it's supposed to be. But it's not about seniors. Period. Look, the mission statement says that they were designed to kill babies. Okay, so that's why we're having a problem with the conversation. Because you show a black neighborhood website or neighborhood is designed to kill babies. I just don't believe it. Market, their main line of business is killing children, okay? The only reason why they offer these secondary sources is to have access to funding. That's the only reason why they offer STD testing. That's the only reason why they offer all of this other cushy bullshit, so that our legislative body could authorize to have access to funding. Because it wasn't a really rosy picture to offer funding for their sole mission to kill babies. That's the only reason why they offer those other services. Okay, so let's not sit here and pretend like it's designed to do a dutiful effort to society. They're designed to kill children. The only reason why they offer on a very disingenuous basis other services is so that they can build taxpayers into their goal of killing more children and us paying for it. That's not what the website says. Yeah, look, the more you get
Regardless of all working well. Or is working well.
You know, I have agreements with Planned Parenthood. There's a Planned Parenthood that I used to go into with my ex-girlfriend, and she would get condoms for free and just give them to her. And then they're right on the counter, and then I attempted to grab them, and they wanted to sell them to me. So I didn't do that. Something that should be prohibited by law, selling condoms to men, but giving them to women. If you really want to prevent disease spread and pregnancies, why wouldn't you give them to everybody or sell them to everybody? Why make it equal? Yeah, I heard that. That seems unfair. Now, it wasn't very expensive. It was like $5 for $1, and then you'd always like make the mistake of grabbing like the gold coin one that's not lubricated. Like, it's very useless. It's cool to have it, but yeah.
You know, I remember the first time I put a condom on, I thought I knew everything in the world, but sure enough, that, class in the 6th grade or 7th grade, which showed us how to unfurl a condom on a banana. When the first opportunity I had to make love to a beautiful woman on a beach in the Pacific, and it was the first time I ever made love, sure enough, I unfurled that condom first, prior to putting it on my banana. And it turns out it's very difficult to put a prophylactic on your schnuckle when it's already been unfurled. It's known as the Book of the Law.
Okay, so that part I got. I was fucking her.
It's the Book of the Law.
Okay, thanks for that.
Yeah, the author is Alistair Crowley. I mean, I think America is aborting itself by doing this reckless spending. I mean, that's what, people who generally get an abortion, that got financial problems, got that problems. And America is aborting itself and essentially bankrupting its currency and bankrupting its morality and ethics and virtue. I mean, we don't need our knights rushing over our perimeter to go fight narco-terrorists in Mexico or in Colombia or Venezuela and killing our youth engaged in combat and warfare against well-armed narco-terrorists. That is an abortion of our future security. I mean, I wish there was some type of group, not group think, because that's negative, but I mean, how do we optimally play this game as, American-loving patriots as opposed to these phony deep state patriots that want to see Donald Trump, die or prematurely lose his presidency. There's a lot of people out there that aren't rooting for the team.
So, I wonder if that thought could be segued into, instead of talking about people, talk about how anybody can buy, not correct me if I'm wrong, but anybody in the world, if you have enough money, you can actually buy land in the United States, and you don't have to be a citizen.
Yeah, that happens all the time.
So that kind of scares me, because the more that the United States is becoming citizens of the United States, the more difficult it is to buy property, to buy land. It's no longer owned by citizens of the United States. So what does that mean?
Well, it's the same old story. I mean, it's Germany, the Weimar Republic. All the money that was printed up for war reparations at the Versailles Treaty came flooding back into Germany. And sure enough, the price of bread went up to the price of a barrel of Russian marks or, German, paper. So, isn't that the fear that all of our borrowing and all the U.S. dollars overseas will come flooding back in and buy up everything we have? That's what was estimated in the 80s with the Japanese and their booming economy. They were buying up assets left and right in this country. They bought Sony and well, they're doing, it's hard. I don't think you can, well, they're still a very wealthy nation and a great people. We have huge cultural education issues in this country, which I don't think the Japanese in their, society have to deal with. But anyways, I don't think it's just like
Japanese politics. If you look at the Sensei right now, the political party at the minute is the exact same. I think literally their slogan is Japan first, and they use the word first mainly. Like it's basically the same thing America went through years ago. But if you look at the Japanese economy is like especially compared to the 80s, it's night and day. The billionaires who own the Gold Coast and Hawaii in the summer, which maybe that's not the best example, but the daily, the salary for many jobs in Japan hasn't even gone up in 20 years. So they're not doing very well.
Stagflation. Well, yes, they don't have the Federal Reserve at $37 trillion in debt. It's all relative, isn't it?
It's the idea that they're still doing shit even though they don't have that. Like, that's not relevant. Like, they can have $37 billion in debt or not and still be doing that? Or
I'm saying that. I guess you could look at, debt to GDP is like, how badly governments are doing currency manipulation and plunging their populace into a future death spiral that they can't get out of.
Well, if we sell all of our land, maybe we can get out of the debt.
Hey guys, John? It's Dr. Mitch. I just wanted to do an announcement. I'm driving past the Marine base in Camp Pendleton, and it's on fire. Big time, so.
Where is that? Take the image. Where is that?
Yeah, hey, it's Camp Pendleton, the Marine base in North San Diego. It's bad.
Yeah,
This is not Rushmore.
You know what else sucks? When a soldier decides to shoot at everybody, and then unarmed soldiers have to tackle a shooter who's got a beard, and then the soldiers tackling the shooter have beards as well. I didn't know soldiers were allowed to have beards.
I didn't know Congressman did too.
Dr. Mitch, what would you do if you were president, king, or emperor of the United States? What would you do for your people?
game plan? You know, where does it lead us? Because right now, most of the paths lead to, elimination of the human race. So, like, to the extermination level of this. You want to preserve the earth. You want to preserve human life. You want to preserve earth prosperity. What no?
Dr. Mitch, can you repeat that again? You're in the matrix.
You guys, are you anyone surprised at the survey results? The poll of those of you that haven't seen it, haven't responded. There is a poll also who is harmed abortion.
Has anyone ever met an abortion doctor? You know, at a public event, some kind of local meeting, and you were like, "Oh, what do you do for a living?" And she's like, "Oh, I'm an abortion doctor." And you're like, "Oh, wow, tell me about yourself." She goes on to tell you about where she went to med school and how she got to be an abortionist. And she tells you her interests in movies and arts, and you're like, "Oh, you're just like you're like every other person. You're just another person like everybody else, right?" But you know, take forceps and like rip a little infant's head off, suck it out, and put it in an oil barrel and store the bodies. You know, it's like, but to me, it's like, how do they're like cute and smiling, or they're like ugly and ogreish. I'm just saying, like, to me, I've never met an abortionist or abortion provider in the real world that I know of.
They wouldn't tell you like that, John. They'd say, I do women's health. Nobody's going to come out and say, I'm an abortionist.
How do you get over, like, I'm kind of OCD, I use baby wipes, I like to shower daily, I brush, I floss, I use, a water pick. I'm just wondering, like, how does a woman or a male doctor who does that in a uterus and rips it apart and stores it, like, looks at it all, looks at the baby parts, because I've seen the videos, and it looks like a cartoon, it's so shocking and horrific. Like, how do you go through your life and not have nightmares? Like, the pictures I've seen are so gross that it's like, to me, it's a visual and an environment that I wouldn't want to be involved in. I know there's money involved, but to me, how is that not just like...
There's a great book called The Psychopath Test, written by a guy named Ronson, where he talks about how some people literally are born without the ability to feel empathy.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even like picking up dog poop on my front lawn. I don't know how people manage to dispose of baby parts.
So it looks like vasectomies are not offered at Planned Parenthood clinics.
Well, not too many vasectomies are taking place every day. I hate to break the bad news to you if that's kind of what you want, is for more men to get vasectomies. But not a lot of men, as far as I know, every week, annually. We can find out the total number, but, to me, I just don't think it's an unnecessary intervention. And thus, I don't even think it's that interesting of a topic, to tell you the truth.
So getting a vasectomy can cost anywhere between $0 to $1,000 for a follow-up visit. So health insurance could actually cover all of the cost.
Well, the great thing about a man is we don't have these things called birth control pills, which don't destroy our bodies and give us, clot shots. It's like a clot shot, basically. It's a stroke. A lot of people stroke out on birth control. I wonder if we should prevent birth control and legislate, and de-escalate birth control consumption in this country because of the negative health ramifications of taking all those estrogen pills and birth control pills and epinephrine.
Yeah, vasectomies are about 6 times cheaper than female sterilization.
Female sterilization. What are we running, like a dog pound here or something, Kristen?
Disadvantages of getting vasectomy.
Kristen, if you were leader of the American people and you were elected the president, what would your priorities be for your people, for we the people?
The most common thing is infection, which is usually minor and treatable antibiotics.
Kristen, I'm not sure if you can hear me, but I asked you, what would you do for we the people, your people? What would your priorities be if you were elected leader of America?
I'm ignoring you on purpose.
Do you know a man who had a vasectomy that was close to your life, Kristen?
What disqualifies you from the vasectomy? Ongoing pain in the testicles or testicular disease?
Do you think it's wrong for a man to cream pie a woman, tell her he loves her, even though he's had a vasectomy and says, I want to have kids with you and I want to be the love of my life, will you marry me? But secretly he's been vasectomized. Do you think that's immoral?
You can get the cost of a vasectomy at Planned Parenthood is very dependent on factors such as location, insurance. But I went to the Planned Parenthood site and it didn't say anything about vasectomies.
That's because they deal primarily with aborting children. Little babies, they suck them out, they use a Da Vinci machine to use forceps and scissors, and they just rip that little baby right out of that uterus.
I'm kind of thinking that if somebody had a vasectomy, there would be a problem.
This was my whole point, Kirsten. Like, this was literally my whole point that I was trying to make. Okay, if Planned Parenthood, it was in the line of business in offering and providing vasectomies, they wouldn't have a reason to do abortions. Okay, the same type of people that subscribe to Planned Parenthood are the same type of people that, quite frankly, looking at the history, don't want to have children. So, I mean, to me, listen, I'm standing 10 toes down. It was always designed to kill children and to further investigating how they can end pregnancies in the womb. The only reason why they offer these additional services such as STD testing and all this other bullshit is because they wanted the federal funding.
I'm gonna ask Grok how much Medicare Medicaid spends annually on birth control and abortions. Let me go ahead and ask. Any guesses? Over 10 billion? Under 10 billion? Anybody? Anybody?
I advocate for
She hasn't even gotten to the chemical castration part. Vasectomy would be kind. I think she also probably endorses chemical castration.
Let me tell you how sick. Roger, let me ask you a question. Have you heard of this new male birth control pill? Male birth control pill? What is it? Yes. Well, I mean, it's funny that John just mentioned chemical castration. It's supposed to be a male equivalent to the female birth control pill. So, I mean, the only way that I think that it could probably accomplish that is if you lower sperm count so far low that you're going to, you're you're going to ensure that nobody can get pregnant? I mean, I'm trying to understand how that's going to be accomplished through pill form without chemically castrating a man.
Well, don't forget, Plan B is a chemical castration, but that would be medical misinformation if you say that, so you can't. Therefore, mifepristone is not a chemical castration. It doesn't cause women to become infertile. That is misinformation.
It's an abortifacient. But Mojo, my whole point is that they're now trying to push this male birth control pill that men are supposed to be able to take to prevent, pregnancies in women. So I'm trying to understand how they're medically able to accomplish that without chemically castrating somebody or significantly lowering their sperm count.
I don't know if this or that, don't know. My understanding is that men are having less and less sex. Like, I'm not even concerned on this. Men are having.
They had a reading that, it lowers the body's testosterone production temporarily, but also lowers sperm return.
This is worse than going on a soy diet and chemo. Like I'm telling you, they're trying to make them trans.
Yeah, that's vasectomy doesn't do that.
So Roger, now do you have a problem with this? They're creating a male birth control that's going to lower male testosterone and reduce the sperm count. You don't see a problem with this? I mean, Roger, you're the first one to say that you feel like testosterone levels in the average millennial and, new generation of males is significantly lower to the point where they're a bunch of pussies. Now, in order for them to be incentivized by gaping pussy and not having to wear condoms, they're taking male birth control, which is effectively going to turn them into said pussies. Like, this is wild. Thank you for actually adding that context, Akima.
Everybody knows that temporarily, what you keep using, permanent.
You see what I'm saying?
My whole problem would be with the person that decides to take it. Like, you decide to take it, that is a you problem. I don't think they should make it, but they got a right to the person that takes it. They're not going to like force you to do dumb shit like that.
And that's where the vasectomy is perhaps more of an option, because there's no chemical stuff going on that lowers testosterone. And the success rates are generally higher than when they're in reversal, when it is done within 10 years of the original.
Fascinating. Condoms are great. I love good condoms.
You can get a vasectomy reversal within, after 10 years.
Wow. Okay, Kristen, listen to this Grok question. Hey Grok, how much does Medicare spend annually on vasectomy, abortions, and birth control? This is Grok's response. Medicare does not cover vasectomies or elective abortions, only hide exceptions, negligible spending. Birth control covered under Part D, no specific annual figure, but total Part D spending annually is $130 billion. That's just on birth control. This is Medicaid. Covers vasectomies and birth control as family planning. $2 billion estimated total in recent years. Abortions limited, states spent $71 million murdering babies in 2015. It's kind of about there. So about $100 million a year in abortions, and about $130 billion a year. That doesn't make sense. Anyways, the number about the birth control is shocking. Nobody could guess. It was about $130 billion a year in pills for young women that want to fuck without
So does it give you, and see, this is where you need to learn if you're running for Congress. What is considered an abortion on those itemized expenses? Okay? What is also considered birth control? Because in these people's sick, deranged mind, they could be patting the books and considering early-term abortions as birth control and late-term abortions as abortions.
I agree. My previous grok or previous research is that we spend $1 billion a month and murder about 80, I think it was 60,000 to 80,000 babies a month in the United States. So it's a $12 billion a year program to murder about 1 million people a year in this country. You file your IRS income tax statement annually, and a small little percentage of that, which totals about $1 billion a month, goes towards murdering 60,000 little innocent babies in beautiful little American vaginas.
You see what I'm saying, serendipity? This is why I brought it up. Okay? Because it's going to create bigger social problems. And biological problems are biochemical problems for a lot of young men. A lot of young men are going to be sold a bag of goods, and a lot of young ladies in taking that early freaking birth control that gave a lot of women cancer and freaking gave them weight problems and shit like that, and they're going to lower the testosterone of young men. That is why they're doing this.
Yeah, the chemical one definitely does. Absolutely. The regular snip doesn't do that.
Hey, Adam, what is your position on rape, incest, like with mother and nature?
So here's the thing. Personally, I don't feel like a tragedy should be met with another tragedy. That's just my personal opinion. I don't know. Like, I know how it sounds to a lot of people. I totally get it. But for me personally, I just don't think that an innocent child should die as a result of being an incident of a horrible tragedy. Whether it's incest or, whether it's the unfortunate, assault. But again, that's not necessarily my choice to make. But if I agree with the exceptions, I don't. I just don't.
Yeah, what about,
I mean, the mother's life in danger, I feel like all exhausted efforts should, go towards preserving human life in the utmost. If it's something to where somebody is factually in danger, then yes, I think that they should, try to make an attempt to save the baby as much as they can, and look at other options with technology later on down the road to maybe support the baby's continued life outside the mother's womb. I'm willing to compromise in that regard, but I just don't believe that. I just believe that we're just too sensitized of just ending life in the form of the most precious beings in society with just this just didn't work, let's just kill it. Like I can't get on board with that. So one of the things that I can say, serendipity, have you ever heard of a pulse form?
No.
So it's basically a form where, like, if your grandparents or if your parents are, elderly, they go into the hospital, it's a do not resuscitate order.
Oh, DNR. Okay, yeah. DNR.
Right. So I feel like that should be more of a colloquial conversation that many women should have with their physicians when they find out that they are pregnant. As far as, if the unfortunate, like that woman in Georgia who, I believe she had a stroke and then the family kept her alive for, I just feel like that should be a form that should be just as binding as a do not resuscitate order. So as we, navigate this nuanced field as a society in 2025, I just don't see anything wrong with that being something that would be supported in court. You know what I mean?
Yeah, her family is going sister alive. The Georgia Murphy law that made the hospital for alive against family physicians.
Right, but in this situation, what I'm referring to is, if somebody, and I feel like even for the family, it can't get any more clear with how they can reconcile with what their loved one's wishes are. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. And I guarantee you they wouldn't take back their grandson at this point, right?
What's up?
Trying to file some chat.
Uh-oh.
Oh, Purge. Oh, Purge guy. He's back.
Well, hold on. He just threatened to kill me, so that is a threat. He is, everyone please report that. Thank you.
Okay, this is the latest Grok query. Hey Grok, how many Americans have been aborted since 1960, and how much has the U.S. government spent on abortions? Also, break down the total number of abortions by race and income. Since 1960, 66 million abortions have been performed in the United States, per Johnston's archive estimates to 2025. So 66 million since 1960. Direct government spending limited by high federal is $1 billion total since 1977 for exceptions. That can't be right. By race, 73 to 2019, white non-Hispanics are 48% at 29 million. Blacks, non-Hispanic, 19 million at 31%. Hispanic, 9 million, 15%, other 6%. By income, less than 41%. Those stats don't make sense. Anyways, that's my Grok query with regards to abortion.
Please respond to the poll question above? Thank you.
Don't like fixing answers. No, but what if it's all the answers? What was that answer?
It turns out that more whites have been killed from abortion than blacks.
And can you explain to me how a woman's right to choose and in black genocide could all be true at the same time? Do you believe a woman should be able to choose black genocide?
No, I believe that women should be able to choose if they want someone to live or not. That includes the fetus in her stomach. That includes her neighbor. That includes someone she dislikes. Yeah. Am I wrong?
Hold on. My dogs are getting crazy.
I think his point was the first option in the shoe home summer right is the woman's shoe.
Is that your dog?
Yeah.
Women are so choosing anything in the fucking kitchen making sandwiches.
I don't think Roger's dog likes your answer.
Did Roger's dog hear about the sandwiches? That's the same thing. See, that's what he said, he needs sandwiches.
After Anne spoke, my white dog started crying and the black dog started barking.
Wonder why.
And Kima, that was your voice supremacy, Anne. What's your problem today? But honestly, who in here is whiter than Hakima?
Wait, did you see the poll, Ann?
It looks like a middle finger. Fuck you to baby murder.
Hi, Connie. Hello.
So I mean, Roger, if you kind of interpret a different finding in that data, would it be fair to say that only 15%, well, 25% now, but the majority of the room is actually opposed to abortion?
Yeah, I would say the majority of the room is opposed to abortion.
Like, can two things be true at the same time? Like, is baby murder, which I agree is baby murder, but yet I hold it as still a woman's right to choose.
Four things can be true at the same time.
Well, I voted black genocide because I care.
But like John said, more white babies been killed than black babies, so.
Well, over the percentage. Yeah, what's the percentage?
Well, for when you look at square miles and the population, it's much higher for black people. And then when you look at like HIV, because I did a grant on it, it's high, great.
Higher than the entire rate. Connie, I got a question for you. Do you support reparations for aborted black babies? If they're aborted, they can't enjoy anything. Who give the money to mom? That is not, you know what, I ain't gonna expect it. That's really sad. Because I had the choice when I was getting ready to go to the Marine Corps, so. Well, Connie, I think it's a good question that I'm asking because you
my own landmark laws, you know. I got a letter from Senator Ted Kennedy when he was out in Congress or Senate, where was that? I just Ted Kennedy, okay? Yes, and he was telling me that they were going to have, they were going to revamp the healthcare system. So I'm not really worried about all these other people. So I don't wait to see what their friends are going to say. When I want something, I go out there and make it happen. So, and people follow. You know, people follow. And then, you know, a lot of people want to be Indian chiefs, but that's a sad thing to say.
When you say Indian, are you picturing knots or feathers?
When I say Indian, I probably would picture feathers. I'll probably picture feathers. Because I don't have a good, strong arm, especially after these last few accidents. I don't have good, strong arms. I don't even think about Taurus anymore.
Thinking of even wondering if it means dot or feather is purely a Northwestern thing. I grew up in Seattle, and that's a question often asked, but I live in Georgia and nobody's once said that to me.
Somebody asked me that.
Northwest, everybody has dot or feather because they have minimal Eastern Indians and arguably more Native Americans. Eastern Indians.
If you go to Redmond, that's not true. If you go to Redmond.
You're such a sarcastic son of a bitch.
But he's talking about because Microsoft employs a lot of engineers from me. I guess there's a qual program quite a few Indians these days as well.
Do they serve curry at the Christmas party?
No, but I can tell you the elevators don't smell very good after lunch.
You know, I got a question for Connie. Connie, I've heard on Clubhouse people complain that black babies were being fed to alligators, and I find it interesting that, here we go, that we object to that, but as long as an abortion doctor is what's killing the baby, that's okay. But feeding them to alligators, that's bad.
Well, I think, you know, it's a woman's body and it's her decision, you know, how she wants to do it. I was reading up and I take it more sensitive. I feel like the alligator is against their will, and so it's not the timing, and so they feel like that's genocide. They feel like that's the only reason why some of them were exported over here. Those that are
So what do you think killed more black babies in the Americas? Do you think it's abortion doctors or alligators?
They okay, so if you look
but none of that shit don't matter.
if you have to look at the time span, every black person that can claim a recent leaving of the continent of Africa 400 years ago is not like me. And so that's the aspect of me. So let's get back to the 1600s. Panthers, an ancestor that came over here from one of the nation states in the continent of Africa. So if you look at
Hold on. In the 1600s, you believe there was nation states on the continent of Africa?
Of course there's nation states, because everything came out of Africa.
No, but hold on. The concept of nation states didn't happen until after empires died at the end of World War I.
First of all, you had lines drawn arbitrarily through colonialism, you know, like that. So you had Nigeria that was, you know, created.
Let me finish. No, I got a question for you. I want to ask you a question. Do you think that nation states were in existence?
I say it to let people know that there are geographical boundaries and borders. and not to get not to get any particular culture, tongue, or specific area mixed up. And I've seen people from Africa get upset about that, so they want you to know that, they're from Rwanda or maybe South Africa, so, so I just say that to let people know that there's borders there, and, there's, territories, but anyway, just going back to, let's go 400 years back. Unfortunately, from the research I've done, and I'm always looking and reading, abortion, from what I know of, has been the highest baby killer. If you go back 400 years to now with black women, abortion has been the highest baby killer.
So in like an effort of restoring, autonomy to Black America, why then are black women supporting it?
I don't know, but I believe that this is definitely what is causing friction with the man if he chooses to stay.
No, but it shouldn't be a matter of if the man chooses to stay or not. I mean, if you look at all the political, activism and, some of the statements that were made as far as, marching for George Floyd and the indignity behind, police violence and how it's going to, protect black babies. But then if we look at the historical cause behind black babies being killed in the black womb, we see a certain practice that black women, for some reason, that align with a certain type of democratic, a democratic following and liberals, you know what I mean, which our black community is full of. Okay, why are they not
Planned Parenthood to privilege is right in the neighborhood.
So why then aren't black women having a conversation, as opposed, instead of having conversations about hypergamy and all the things that are, associated with getting the bag, why don't we say babies in the womb? You see what I'm saying? But the second black men go into those spaces and they say something, it turns into, vitriol. I mean, it's just unacceptable. I don't care if I have a womb or not. It's unacceptable. Killing black children is unacceptable. Okay, so...
Well, I got something else for you that is unacceptable. There are... I dated this guy and I was real patient with him.
Was he white?
Not this one. He was very dark skin.
How dark was he?
Like your shoe dark. Your black shoe dark.
Like his beard?
Yeah, all of that. So look, check this out. I was patient with him. There is a great growing number of black women that hate black males. And so he said that the women that he dated, he would keep in close contact with the boys because the women, they had so much hate and fury for black males, they couldn't even turn it off with their own children. Like that. And I also heard one lady at work, she retired. She said her mother chopped up her grandson and took it down the toilet stool. And the toilet.
She chopped up a baby and put it down the toilet?
Yes, that's the norm for the family, because he was a black male baby. And she said the toddler cousins was like, let's say his name is Boo-Boo. Where's Boo-Boo? Grandma, we ain't seen Boo-Boo. Yeah, there's a growing amount. I had to even stop my own child from going over to my sister's house when she was alive. She definitely had a chip on her shoulder for black male, so it's like, if they don't know you or like you or you don't grab for those heartstrings, those that don't like black girls can eat. So, yeah, so put them all up. And if there's 30 million in this country, I probably wouldn't be surprised if it was 25 million that hated black male.
And don't
it's a growing movement.
And Connie, when you talk about like southern roots and even in places in middle America where black people existed, how many of these women were caregivers killing people? You see what I'm saying?
How many of these women were in caregiving roles, okay, nursing their sick husband?
I don't know, but
taking
my
them into the grave?
grandmother
You see what I'm saying?
a phase nine. A phase nine. And after my grandfather died, she would talk to his ghost, and they didn't get along very well either. Yeah, and then I know, but see, a lot, I'm gonna tell you one trigger was they weren't valued, so they were expected to leave home early at 14 or 16. That was, I'm sure that was a trigger right there.
Well, when you have a poll up,
Now, finding the results interesting.
You know, people talk about the abortion debate a lot, and it's always about a woman's right to choose her women's health. But I don't think a good analysis or a perspective, you know, shedding light on the perspective of the doctor's operations, the facilities, the nurses, the funding, the insurance payments, the profiteering, the conferences, the industry
And the
itself.
welfare that they receive preferential treatment from the government. Welfare, they get just a lot of bankroll, just like, you know, Amtrak or American Airlines. But I was on my way to the Marine Corps, and they sat me down and said, don't rush, because if you were doomed, then you can have 8 years in the Naval Academy. And so then I started listening, like, okay, this person's on my side. And then he showed me abortion pictures, and you know, they just go in there and talk something, and then the baby just starts fighting with his arms, and then they, you know, chop it off and then suck it, you know, like that. And you know, they have to be very careful because it goes on, and then they got to bring what's left of it out of the woman. It's just, you know, in so much pain, and then finish stabbing and chopping it up. But once I saw that picture, I was like, I'm not going in the Marine Corps. I'm staying home with my baby. It's terrible. But had they not shown it to me, you know, I would have ran the risk of damaging something and never being able to have kids.
can I ask why Frank, Kristen, and Ann have not answered the survey question?
You know that these surveys actually go back onto your profile and you can't.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you can't delete them yet, but they'll get around to delete them. There's plenty of things that I've had on my profile that have been deleted over time.
I want to delete all these back-end messages.
Yes, me too.
Ooh. What you got up in your backside?
Nothing, but I want to delete them.
What's up in your back end? What is up in your back end?
Stuff, and it ain't regulated, and I don't know you. You have to come with a referral from a referral, you know, no. So that's a lot I want to delete, and you can't delete. And they don't keep a good record account of replays. They don't keep a good record account of replays either. You save stuff, and I go and put it on Thread, and it embarrasses the hell out of me because it's not even there anymore.
Did you guys notice the new update right now? It's like an actual hallway where you could, when you're scrolling up in rooms, you can listen in without actually going in.
I couldn't do it yesterday, though. I couldn't do it yesterday.
I
Or
tried.
even this morning.
No, I noticed it happened in the evening, like a couple hours ago.
You have to be out of a room though, right?
Yeah, you have to be out of a room, and then, and then you can just, like, it's crazy. So I'm wondering if I guess if you're booted from the room, you won't be able to see it. But if it's a room where you know you're going to get booted, you can just stay in the hallway and listen.
So you could be in the back and it's time out, but you still hear it.
That's how you get it.
And it's kind of like still being anonymous. It's weird.
Yeah.
But I wonder on the abortion topic if...
Oh, but yeah, get sucked into the room, I think after a minute, like you listen to it for a minute, and get sucked into the room, so I guess.
I didn't see that.
No, it actually
Months ago.
It actually shows you, like, if somebody comes, if somebody listens from the hall, I can see that they've entered the room.
Oh, so only the mind.
I just updated, much better, much better. Hey, who was Hakeem on the go?
Not it,
He must have, moved himself.
not have done that.
Oh, you know what I think happened? I think Hakima left the room, he went anonymous, and then made another room, and then came back.
No, I'll update my app to see the new feature.
Oh,
You remember that?
yeah, I just updated it too, it's much better now. I wonder what's going on this morning.
So I wonder with abortion, I have a question, and I don't want to be selfish, but people believe a man's got no say.
A lot of women do, that's why they be having relation problems in their relationship, he be mad about that shit. But, I believe he has to say. I think I would act like I don't because I would be looking at the money that I possibly will or won't get.
That was my follow-up about the money. Women that don't have.
But I told you I had that video they showed me, and to talk about how they take this men in the naval academy up to like 8 years or more. And so I would not do abortion. I would not do it at all. I would not. But thanks to that video.
That's one of my primary things about the abortion laws is I feel like, they're very misandrous in that the financial liability, the decision to have to not to have, falls solely with the woman, and the man doesn't have any say. Like, I feel like at least if you were gonna make abortion legal, then he should have the opportunity to opt out and not be financially responsible if she has the opportunity to opt out.
And I think he should be able to say something after 6 months too. I really think he should. I think he should. But I think everything worked out.
When do you think you should say after 6 months?
I think he should have to.
Because I'm kind of concerned right now.
No, but I mean, we're not doing it.
She can't opt out.
Oh. No, someone I think fine at 6 months. And that's the month that I started talking because I think I can carry it to term. But I would just be 30 years coming out of the Marine Corps. But I would have been a doorknob because I was a little knucklehead. I probably still would have ended up pregnant with a kid, you know, like that. But I think a man should have some say-so all the way. I understand it's not his body, but especially when he does something like that. Yeah, so he should have some type of legal to it.
I think there needs to be, no, do they have, and forgive me if I'm out of date here, but do they have paternity tests at the birth?
Yeah, but see, they're risky. They're risky. And they will let you do it if you're like my last child, I had him at 38. So they will let you do it for like Down syndrome. But, you know, I just never liked needles. I've always been a terrible patient. They come back for your follow-up,
Hold on. I got a PSA. Did you know that if you have sex standing up, you are slightly less likely to get pregnant?
It's so stupid.
I'm standing up.
Another reason for the wall.
Well, I'm just telling you.
It's not why you're always on your head, Mocha.
It says that fewer sperm will remain pooled near the cervix, which, in theory, lowers the odds. And if you're not updated the phone, why aren't you doing the survey?
No, she's being ridiculous. She thinks that she refuses to read the terms and conditions of service, and she can still call out for refusing her information. And I keep telling her, every time she X's out of that box, she is still consenting because she uses the freaking app. She might as well enjoy the perk.
Yeah, using the app is consent.
Yeah, have you guys has anybody ever been to Chick-fil-A?
Hello, yes,
Yeah.
Have you actually looked at the sign at the drive-thru window, what it says?
What does it?
It says, by you being in this line and ordering from Chick-fil-A, you automatically give consent to be in one of their promotion advertising videos and being recorded.
Oh, that happens when you go to Monday Night Raw, too.
Wow.
I don't mind that much because I got like 14 million views on Google Maps. And I got like 500,000 when we went to North Carolina. And it happened in about a week and a half. I was like, that's almost the whole state. I was like, and I was on good behavior because I was like, who was paying me any attention? But I would go for that. I would go for that because I'm always rating places that I go to.
Yeah, hold on. I want to talk to Ann real quick. Hold on. Ann, let's have a dialogue. So you believe that you're going to someday sue Clubhouse? Ann Hero? She must have stepped away.
She should. All of these apps take your stuff and don't, give you any.
She's not going to be able to sue. Sorry.
Do you work for Clubhouse much? You sound like you're like an undercover agent for Clubhouse.
Is that what you think?
It's
Yeah.
just common sense that you're using the app that you are explicitly agreeing to the terms and conditions of service, whether you want to click the button or not.
Yeah, I don't think I don't, hold on. I don't think I would make a good Clubhouse employee. Twice I've led revolts, once to Fanbase, once to Chatter. I've had an account completely deleted, and I've had this one suspended just very recently. I just don't think I would make a very good ambassador. I'm not a great brand ambassador for Clubhouse.
So you're loyal to yourself. And that makes plenty of sense. So Chatter was created by Nelson and Payment.
They don't just say that, they know that.
Wow. So he was with that, I forget what that app was that he used to come online with. So he just really has been building himself up and growing, progressing like wildfire. That's good to hear.
Would you say that with Isaac Hayes building Fanbase and Nelson Ortega building Chatter, would you say that those are slavers' revolts?
I would say that I stopped following people to like Fanbase and some other places because the people that you follow, they don't open up any rooms and you're trying to figure out the gadgets and stuff like that.
Why did you go to Fanbase in the first place?
Following somebody from Clubhouse.
Who did you follow?
I think it was Freddie or something.
Freddie Roosevelt?
Yeah, and his brother, Jimmy White, yeah. Just trying to be supportive, if you're connected with somebody or you come in their room, they give you a mic, I try to be fair and supportive for, every room that I go into. And I just stopped doing that. When people tell me about a new app, I'm like, I barely can keep up my pages, where I'm at.
Is Ann back? Is Ann with us?
Yeah. No, I think she's still done. I'm gonna text her. needed to come up, we used to get them at Road.
I think I'm gonna remove Frank from the stage for not.
I mean, what he's doing in the chat is kind of spammy.
Pretty much. Frank, are you with us? Frank, are you with us?
And his story's on repeat.
Frank, I want you to speak. Can you unmute yourself? Alright, I'm gonna count from 3 backwards.
Oh, he's counting.
3, 2, George Michael. 1. Alright, Frank. No more Frank. This is why you used to chill.
And now he's calling you a bastard?
Oh, he wouldn't do that. That would get him removed from the room.
Well, he said it kind of.
I don't even know what he's saying. He said Mojo is doing this
I don't know. He didn't quite say it, but.
He didn't quite get there.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm gonna bring him back up, just so he can clarify what he meant. Let's see. We'll give him a second
That
chance.
could be indicative of the fact that he doesn't speak English.
No. He speaks perfect English. We've had him do full concerts. He can sing all those Michael songs. Yeah. He's
I will be your preacher, teacher, give you anything. Can you sing?
Frank, can you do a George Michael tune for us?
Can you do the Father whatever one?
Frank, this is not gonna go well for you. It's your last chance. Do George Michael needs to stay.
Should we give him a cookie? Extra iPod hours?
Okay, Frank. That's for it. Back to the 2 you go.
I want to take a moment, since we're not talking much here, to give Bonnie some flowers. I had a conversation with my son. I live in Atlanta. My son goes to a very, very mixed school, about 50-50 black-white. And ever since my son was a little tiny kid, an infant in fact, he loved black women. If a black woman in public approached him when he was an infant in the stroller, he just lit up like the sunshine. Like he just asked, there was no question that he preferred black women. And as we get older, it hasn't changed. And he's 18 now, he just graduated high school. And we went to the most mixed school in Atlanta that's among the good suburbs. Most of them are, the high performing suburbs are almost always overwhelmingly white on purpose in order to try to maintain those standards. But I put him in a school called Sprayberry, which is a top 10 school in the state, but it's by far the most diverse school, and we did it on purpose. He has dated one black woman in high school that was a pretty cool person. But ultimately, he had a conversation with me recently, and I'm getting some more of this. And he said that, Dad, you know, it kind of sucks because my experience in high school of wanting to date black women is that he's a very quiet, soft-spoken, kind person. Very, very, very easygoing, extremely easygoing. And he's intimidated and overwhelmed by black women. He told me that, you know, the ones I find attractive are overbearing and reactive and loud, and he said obnoxious, and it frustrates me because I want somebody that's calmer. I want somebody that, you know, that looks the way I want her to look, but I also want that calm energy. And he had a conversation with me about this, and it was very recent. And I said, you know, you'll find her, just keep looking. And I'm sitting in this room, and I'm listening to Connie, and she's like smart and kind and soft-spoken and non-reactive and so engaging and so just easy to listen to. Like, I mean, first of all, if you're 25 years younger, I totally want to hook it with my son. He's very good at it. But I'm also a former Marine, so you keep talking about the Marine Corps, and I'm not sure you ever made it in there, but I still respect the fact that you obviously support and appreciate the Marine Corps. But I wanted to say that you are the absolute best example of a black woman that I would want my son to find, personality-wise and intelligence-wise, and just overall demeanor-wise. And I know you give me hope that there's somebody out there for him that will meet his expectations on an energy level, along with beautiful. You're obviously beautiful. And then, I don't know, it's just refreshing to have you here. I followed you. I want to see where you kind of hang out. I hang out on a lot of mixed spaces in here, and I hang out on a lot of primarily black spaces in here. I don't talk much because I end up getting kicked off the stage just because I'm white when I start talking sometimes. And that sucks because I find the more reasonable room to hang out.
They're very closed-minded.
It's tough, yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, they kick anybody. I have people, I gave them a little snippet because they want you to prove stuff, you know, like one guy told me Clan Donald was black, and he said, if I get some proof, I'm like, dude, nobody proving shit to you. I said that they're not your people because they're not doing anything for you unless you want to prove it. I'm like, nobody cares what what you think. And then, so I gave them a little snippet and I showed them a little genealogy tree. And so, but they were, they were so freaking ignorant because they didn't. I said, Lenape, you people who sold New York City. And I said, Mexico. And they were like freaking out. No way, there's no such thing. And I'm sitting here like, that is one of the most original groups. And then, but what they do is they see, if you talk about something with receipt, oh yeah, I'm related to that person too. But you're doing what my mother hated about her West Indian side. You're not being fair. Because you're sitting back and, you're giving people the green bean and you're censoring others when they talk. And then you're saying, well, okay, well, you might be Native American but we're Indian or like that. And they try to discredit you. And I'm like, these are signs of a pretender. But right now, I do have a white boyfriend.
It doesn't surprise me because for the white guys that like black girls, most of the black women nowadays, it's a tough personality. You know what I mean? It's a tough personality. There's a lot of energy there, and I've been sitting in some rooms recently, actually, very recently.
Oh, yeah, and that's the watch. You have to watch the white perfectly because it's like riding on an airplane. Now, my dog is like riding on an alligator, but it's like
it is. I love that.
Through the world.
It is. And trying to
on the airplane.
And trying to support my son and remind him that, not everybody's the same, right? Like, you're going to find somebody that has a combination of what you're looking for, and you don't need to compromise and date a white girl. You don't have to do that. Don't bother, you know what I mean? That's not it.
Because, my mom, she never had political conversation. She never told us we was better than anybody. She said everybody's created, before God, in the image of God. And she always said, go after your heart. But she did say, now, if you're going to deal with your dad's side, maybe that would be better for you to date, a white guy. But she did say that. And then, I had really nice hair. And she would just straighten it even more. And I felt so bad for her because I was like, she's in a wormhole and she's just trying to be quiet and fit in. I was like, how you can't get into these straighters? I felt so bad for her.
There's a guy here named Sig. He's a military guy, really, really good human being, great father, really smart guy. And
don't you meet black women?
What's that?
What's that?
No, he's ghetto black women. he hates ghetto black women, and he comes on, he hosts rooms where he talks about, like, I want my black women to step up. Like, I love black women, but I love the good black women, and there's too many obnoxious black women. So he's been hosting a lot of rooms lately on this topic, basically. And I've been sitting through these rooms, and 99% of the time, black women come on and they lose their shit on him, and he's like, you're just proving my point, you're just proving my point, you know? And instead of like, you'd be a perfect person if you can stumble into one of those rooms and just be yourself, and he's gonna fall in love with you, and he's gonna give you all the props you deserve, because the reality is you're talking about is out there, and he just encourages people, like, he thinks it's easier to find a good woman if she's white. He's married to a white woman. But he's not anti-black woman. He's not. He's the opposite state of it. Yeah, and he's a good guy, but you would be an awesome, I mean, he would probably mod you, but you'd be an awesome person, because you're not grandiose, you don't showcase, like, you're honest and authentic, and he is too, and I don't know, the whole thing, there's just a lot of overlap. It's just really refreshing to listen to you talk, because I've been having all of these influences of that thought in my head between my son and safe rooms and this and that lately. And I'm like, oh, here's proof that, that's wrong. Like, there's awesome examples out there. So anyway, that's your flowers. Thank you for being here, and I appreciate you.
And you're welcome. You're welcome. I bet you know how to finesse people. You're a good moderator, because you have me talking about things that I usually just don't talk about. I don't say it. But I've always been frank. So I think, like, if a person asks, I'll answer. But I do ad-lib a little more with you. Someone got 257?
If you remember, Mojo's been trolling you a little bit in a fun way, though, not a mean way. And you are unbreakable. He's been commenting in the chat a little bit. It's just funny, because that adds more credence to your incredible authenticity. But I think it's funny that you can break Mojo's efforts to be a sarcastic asshole, if you can totally break him.
Are you single, Mike?
I've been married 27 years.
Okay, never mind. I just thought it would be really cute if maybe you and Connie could face number.
Oh, dude, I would totally if I was single. But I didn't want to go there. I don't want to be creepy. I'd rather hook up with my son, but he's too young.
All of that's creepy, but it's been really sweet.
Thank you, because I'm trying to be honest without being creepy, because I don't want to sound creepy. But, well, thank you. It's like walking a tightrope. It's like walking a tightrope, so thank you.
I think it's really sweet that you give so much consideration to what you want for him to find for himself. Like,
oh, absolutely. I mean, my wife and I have known it since day one. We giggled and joked about it for a little bit. I wondered if, you know what I mean? And then here he is, and yes, we were right. It's not an if, it's a definite. We couldn't be happier for. We just wanted to be happy.
Well, hold on. So how did you know? Like, was he drinking like purple Kool-Aid when he was a kid?
It's such an ass. Listen. Imagine he's in a stroller, and white women, everybody comes up, because my wife's Asian, I have twins, boy, girl, and so we have them in a double stroller, so we got a lot of attention, right? White, tall, 6'3" white guy with a little short, beautiful Asian woman, and his mixed twins, so we got a lot of attention. Whenever white people would come up, he'd look at them like, who the hell are you? Like, you know what I mean? He was the guy that was like, a little standoff. My daughter's like, hey, like human being, just, woo! My son was like, I don't know about this one, right? But then a black woman would come up, because we're in Atlanta, and it happened quite a bit as well. He'd be like, oh my God, look at them. And he would just light up. I mean, practically like stick his arms out and want to just give her a big hug every time. This was when he was like an infant. And it went up to like the age of 3, age of 5, always, same thing. Same thing. We just knew it. It was crazy. And then the first girl he dated in high school was black. And it's like, oh, there you go. You know what I mean? It's just, I don't know. Like, it's just funny. It's funny how, like, we didn't put that in him. He just, like, it's in him. Like, God put it in him. I just think it's cute. And I support it. And thankfully he's not gay. Because that I would have struggled with more, to be honest with you. This I don't struggle with.
But is it me, or has everyone noticed that little white baby boys are just adorable and attracted to whatever clothes they vote? Because whenever I go past a little white baby boy, he sparks up, like that. And I said to myself,
that's cute.
I said to myself, well, he's innocent now. I said, but wait till the world poisons him. We'll see if we can stand the test.
Well, yeah, and that's a good point. And to be honest with you, nobody in this house has ever poisoned my son, and I've gone on my way actually to make sure he was in mixed environments as much as possible. And to be honest, what he feels about when he was talking about black women, it's just factual. Like it's just he's just overwhelmed by it, and it's a real thing. And I don't want to tell him like, oh, what you're saying is crazy. That's not true. All people are equal. Like the reality is that there is a I mean, I don't even know how to phrase it. There is that stereotypical vision of a black woman being loud and obnoxious. But his experience in high school is that it was pretty incredible, pretty consistent. I mean, it's pretty obnoxious for him. And even his girlfriend, she's sweet and all, but she was overly dramatic. And when she hung out with her black friend, she came back acting a slightly different person than when she hung out with my son for a long period of time without joining her black friends on the side. It would change. It would like code switch, even with her. And I think he just wants a genuine.
Can you give me an example? Like, give me a quote.
I'll give you an example.
No, I'm asking my time.
What do you mean? What do you mean, Mojo?
You said that the code switching. Give me an example. Do the impersonation of the code switch.
No, it's not a code switch like that. That's what
cosplay.
Yeah.
You don't want to hear this.
Around
It's kind of like,
hi, Mr. Mike, how are you? And then
it's kind of like, I'll give you one example. So we got a new dog. Our dog passed away. We got a new one, and they're golden doodles. Both of them more. The other one was more golden retriever, less poodle. This one is like way more poodle, less golden retriever. So this one has really curly hair. It's soft and really curly. And so my son at one point was like was petting the dog and was like, oh my God, this one's crazy. Our new dog has hair like you. And she laughed about it around us. But then she went back and she told that story to her friends in high school, her black friends. And they convinced her that that was completely inappropriate and that he's racist for saying it. And then she came back and started being an asshole about what he said. And he's like, I didn't mean it like that. I mean, I love you. I care about you. Like, we've been together well over a year at this point. And she just couldn't, in the end of things, she couldn't get over it. That was one of the things she couldn't get over. She switched. And eventually, by the time they broke up, she was like convinced herself that what he said was completely racist and inappropriate. And he's just like, I don't need this drama. Like, the only reason they broke up, he's like, you're just so overly dramatic about things, and just stop. But there was a fundamental change between the way she acted genuinely in the moment versus what her friends convinced her after the fact that he was.
Is that kind of like when Will Smith laughed at the joke that Chris Rock said, and then after his wife?
Yes.
Then he
exactly. Yeah. Exactly. It's the same thing. She's pulled that. And it was really, the more time she spent around her friends after the fact, it became really problematic, and it was just bad because she started like gaslighting him about, what his intentions were when it wasn't his intentions at all. It was really clear. But ultimately that wasn't doing it. There was a lot of issues like that he would it's just almost called like bumping cultures, and ultimately he couldn't bridge the gap of the cultural differential with her.
Too white. He didn't need to. He didn't need to because it sounds like she didn't have values. And
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, she needed to be understanding. Yeah, right. She needed to be more fair and understanding, and they wouldn't have been that mean.
Right.
Yeah, because we didn't have to.
My dad is 41 years older than me, and we sat down one day, and I'm gonna tell everybody this story. We said, "What is black culture?" And then I went to the library and I read that during slavery times in Maryland, no one could understand black culture, and they looked at how the free and the enslaved, dealt with each other, but there was a significant importance there that kept them, communicating. And so you had two people there. He's 41 years older than me. She had 500 years, and we had never seen black culture. And I said, Dad, why do white men don't openly pursue black women as much as they used to during slavery days? He said, because you know, and I would move furniture into white women's houses. He said the mothers said they didn't want their sons with black women that they knew about because they didn't have any manners. And I was like, that's true, because I noticed that, you know, they're not fair, and that they don't, you know, necessarily, you know, they'll say, well, I'm going to the amusement park. Why do I need to hear about the amusement park if you're not inviting me? And then another thing that happens with the culture bridge, I'm your everyday black girl until you get upset. Then you talk. We've been friends since elementary school. You talk about me even before I knew what tribe I had come from. Sounds like I feel you because she's Indian. And I'm sitting there like, with what nation? You know, I was really young, like 18 or 20 something. So I understand what your son went through, because I get it too. You know, they need the numbers, but at the same time, I'm on the outside. I'm not your stereotypical black girl at all. And they'll tell me about it when they get angry or just need to, you know, crash out.
Yeah, I know. I did a photo essay of for African American Month many years ago, and I had some people that I photographed portraits, and we had some interviews going on, and some of what the conversation got into was code switching. And one of the people that I was photographing, this person, Frank, keeps saying I'm racist, what a ticket. Person I was photographing was from England, but she's black, and she had quite, you know, a lot to say about like what her experience has been like moving to America from England, being black, and having what sounds like a white girl English accent, you know, and how she has to code switch sometimes, and then she described me what that means in the culture, and you know, how it's just so common, and how it's difficult because she wants to be authentic in all moments, but she feels like she can't be sometimes, and how it's a burden. And I don't know, I just kind of empathized with the way she was explaining what it is, and it was something I had never really put much thought into at the time.
You know, a lot with social media, a lot of white guys are marrying, in America, they're marrying more foreign women that when they get here, because they have to use the tax money, black foreign women. But, you know, they don't go by black in the Caribbean or any of the African nation states like that. And then sometimes I just be looking, I'm like, aren't you tired of that weave? You know, just be, you know, I just be like, I see that they see something on the inside, and it's not about prettiness or neatness, you know, like that. So that's kind of, you know, so that's really interesting as well.
Yeah, thanks for thanks for allowing us to have this conversation. I appreciate it. Go back to Mojo trolling. What's his name? Who's the last guy?
You know, I'm headed out.
You live in Atlanta too? You live in Sandy Springs? I do. And then somebody said you live here. Yes. Could I just advise that you never know who's listening? Minimize personal information.
Kristen, I'm headed out for the night. I'm just wondering, I'm not vasectomized, Kristen, but like any advice on the ladies front? You got like a great line I can use on a pretty girl tonight? Just maybe, should I just be like, by the FYI, I'm not vasectomized? Maybe that would be my pickup line. You know, I was thinking, is war technically just a late-term abortion?
Where's Ann? Where's Ann here? LMS. Oh, there she is. Oh, she's back. Ann, can you walk the room through your theory about if you don't update, you get to sue them? service at some point.
What?
If you don't update the app, you get to sue Clubhouse at some point. Some people obviously that they're.
No, I'm just saying that I didn't opt in and accept your terms and conditions. So to ever use my voice for over 3 years and like make my voice say things that I never said, publish it or something that I'm not down for.
Who told you that you're going to be able to make any kind of?
When you read the terms of service, it's all thing at once.
Do you know that by being on the app that you are agreeing to terms of service?
Well, the new terms of service, agree or no thanks.
No, you don't.
Yes, there's. Other ones, yeah, I can screenshot it.
You should understand that use of the app is implicit consent.
Because, and I'm trying to have an argument.
We are.
I just do you not enjoy the app?
What do you mean? I enjoyed the app.
No, but you're not getting all the features.
Yeah, you're not getting told.
Oh, you mean like, because I didn't. The subscription.
Right. And don't fall into, no, not the subscription, just the poll.
Don't fall into the trap of Roger's poll. Laughing at my joke, I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Is the vaccine, the COVID-19 vaccines, are those technically just early term abortions as opposed to late term abortions? Or preemptive abortions, I think is what the eugenicists call them.
I think this room's getting sleepy.
But it's such a satisfying piece. And that was so cute that you had the pony and
It is, the energy in here is really calm. Very.
Mike, what Asian is your wife?
She's an American-born Chinese, full Chinese woman. Who I met in Indiana, and I've been told by Asian guys every time I mention that, it's like, you got an ABC, that's like finding a unicorn, man.
Well, you know, I've noticed that, this generation here, that's in their 20s, 30s, they're not that attractive. Because when I was growing up, they had the most, every Asian woman I would come across when I was growing up looked like they were ready for the Miss USA pageant or something. So I just noticed that.
Well, they turn into little short, stereotypical old Asian women, like overnight. Like they go, like they stay the same, and then like you wake up one morning and you're like, holy shit, and she looks like something in a Disney movie, you know what I mean?
She looks like her mother.
Looks like her mother, but she turns into it, not like white people where it takes time. It kind of just happens overnight, so she looks like she's 20 until she's like 60, and then she looks like she's 60 that day, yeah.
So they're not the black don't crack type people.
Well, they are until they're like in their 60s.
Right.
You'll see a 58.
Really old.
Oh, but you'll see like a 58-year-old like Filipino or Chinese, and you'll be like, how old are you, 30? And she's like, I'm 58, I have grandkids. You're like, wait,
Right.
what? But then
I mean, my wife is absolutely fucking beautiful, and she still is. Probably prettier than she was when she was 20.
Well, you know,
Thank you,
in the synagogue, that's who if they're not bringing another woman that looks like them, they usually bring an Asian girl that they can get.
I got myself a Filipino.
Yeah, my son is half Filipino.
Filipinos are pretty because they look like they're half white, half Asian by default.
Yeah, it was really like a Spanish building.
Yeah, a little bit like that, yeah.
I think the prettiest Asians are Koreans, to be honest with you. I think they're the prettiest Asians.
Like the round steak.
Oh,
You don't like it, or you do?
I don't.
I like a square jaw, like a very chiseled square jaw on a woman for some reason, and Koreans have a lot of that going on. Japanese have more of a pointing jaw, but Koreans have square jaws. So that round face thing you're identifying, for me, is probably a good thing if it's not cherubic round, but it's like chiseled round.
They just sort of will behave.
Which ones?
Koreans.
Oh, are they? I've never really been around any Koreans before.
Well, were you trying to say they're prejudiced?
It's just such an extreme, tough culture. The more you get exposed to it, the more you're like, whoa.
So not as subservient as like Japanese?
No. Well, I wouldn't call any Asians subservient. I would say they're not alike.
Asian women are subservient in public, just not in private.
I don't think that's a sensible way to interpret their behavior. They're courteous. But that has that's like a complex thing, but like part of there is this idea in Japanese society that the courtesy you display in public in accord with your role is also protection for you, right? You do what is according to your role, and then you're in the right, and you don't have to do anything outside of that. The other party can't have expectations for you outside of that. So you just make sure you do what you're supposed to do. And in Japan, they have a very polite society, and that politeness is not subservience, it's just your duty in certain context.
Yeah, politeness.
It's what you owe the society, not that particular person.
The politeness is a public thing, because
Yes,
they are free as fuck in private. Totally changes. That would differ to you. It's totally different. Like they'll run circles around anybody else that I've ever known who wasn't Japanese, like after the fact, but like in public, it's a whole different thing. It's just like, it's like all that pent up control, self-control turns into like fly your freak flag when you get behind it in the bed. It's just a little odd like that. Like even the men like looking at pornographic cartoons on the Shinkansen, like not even embarrassed to be just perusing those things. Like the whole thing is kind of secretly perverted, but outwardly controlled. It's interesting.
Or you might say that they control the things that they control the things that need to be controlled, you know, their society is polite, things go smoothly, you know, and the things that don't need to be controlled are not society's business, so they don't control that shit. And that's fine. Okay, like, there's a lot of this way that we interpret this that, like, kind of projects, I think, certain kind of Western norms onto them, and then assumes they have some motivation or like psychodynamics that maybe we would have. Maybe these would be like, you know, this is like we're repressing outwardly so we express inwardly or something. But I don't think you have to interpret what's going on in Japan that way. It's organized differently. You know, here I'm allowed, and here I gotta do this other thing. But that's public life and private life. Every society has that.
I appreciate that, Jason. That's a very, I mean, yeah, it's a much more civil, nuanced way to describe it, probably much more accurate.
Who changed the title to My Wife is Asian? That's hilarious.
I did not do that.
I know.
That's pretty funny.
I think it fits. I mean, I think you're throwing shade at someone, but I don't see the one who I thought you'd be targeting. No shade.
No, it's no shade. It's like an inside joke, not shade.
I just stopped by to say hello.
Monica, Oh, you did those in the poll.
It did, like,
I'm doing a massive rethinking of my stance on abortion.
based on what?
Well, based on the fact that, like, anytime we've had those rooms, these conversations, when you really talk to people, I feel like the majority of the population kind of sits in that similar place of feeling like nobody wants to see anyone abused, like unwanted pregnancies, but most people feel very compelled in situations like rape and incest, or when the mother's life is in danger, that, you know, it shouldn't be, doctors and physicians and patients shouldn't have to worry about legal hoops, from the perspective of worrying about being, you know, hindered or prosecuted by the law. And, you know, I've with this for a long time because I do consider myself very, very pro-life, but I wrestle a lot with the fact that there are very real world complexities to that position, and I just don't think that we can legislate for them. So I don't think that we should legislate abortion at all. I think we should go back to making abortion a medical decision that only a doctor, her medical team, and a patient and a doctor can make the decision on what's in the best interest for everybody. You know, I mean, the thing of it is, doctors, they already have a Hippocratic code, and there's certain things that we could do with regards to medical ethics to make sure that, you know, it's not abused and overused. We already know that the stats for those very real situations are pretty minimal, so obviously we should naturally see a reduction in the number of abortions that are going. And like I said, I mean, I don't know, but doctors have review boards and panels for everything. Like, they have to be accountable for all kinds of stuff anyway, so I just don't see why they couldn't work that into the medical establishment. And I feel like that would probably appease most people on the abortion issue.
Okay.
So working it out left, right.
And this is going to be my answer, and then we can turn the mic over to other people who want to participate. But the poll had, it said, what is this elective abortion? My answer would definitely be, it's baby murder, definitely. And then I don't know of any conservative who enjoys the idea of forcing women to carry an unwanted pregnancy to term. And sometimes the fetus is so malformed, or the mother's life truly is at risk, as toxic pregnancies, that's not a viable pregnancy, and an abortion or DNC would be needed because that baby is not going to survive, and it's a health risk to the mother. These are all viable considerations. So it does make answering the poll harder. Optimally, what I would like, there would be no laws on the abortion at all, and that women would be told about the sanctity of life, and they would choose life or abstinence or parenthood or adoption. Those are the choices, I think, for instead of elective abortion. But then also, I'm not interested in anyone's vagina or their womb. I see where you're coming from. I see the dilemma. Like, black genocide is not a bad answer to this when you look at the proportion of abortions that happen to black women. And then also political football. Mike is not wrong. It's tossed up, and the people on the left say you don't care about children because you don't adopt children who are in foster care. You just care about forcing women to have unwanted babies, and then once they're born, you don't care about them. And then what about forcing women who are raped or to have incest? You're going to make them, and then the people on the right are like, we've conditioned women to think that parenthood and motherhood are not valuable. And a woman having 4 or 5 or 6 abortions, that's a lot. You know, so anyway, I'll let someone else answer too. Thanks for asking.
Yeah, like I said, I'm still working on some nuances, but I just, we cannot legislate for every situation. And when I hear about mothers with babies who are dead in her womb and doctors refusing to give her service because they're worried about the legal ramifications of performing a necessary surgery and her fertility is at risk, like, that's not okay. And
well, that's medical malpractice, though. That's the doctors and the hospitals. That's not the law. That's them misinterpreting the law, and they should be sued. And they have been sued.
I don't think that's fair given some of the laws that are on the books.
I think that they're very hesitant to do what they feel they need to do because they're afraid of the repercussions that unfairly coming on them later. Like, there's a structure that's set up that scares the shit out of them because none of them want to go to prison for doing the right thing. And it's done that way on purpose in a lot of cases by the states. It's from the states.
Well,
absolutely.
I wouldn't say.
Horrible.
Well, even if it's not done on purpose, the way the law is administered makes it clear that they can't do this. The way it's administered right now, like in Texas, okay, where even if we set it like malintent or whatever, these are old laws that were never put into practice. They were never intended to be put into practice. When they were drafted, they knew they wouldn't go into practice. And then we're picking them up, I don't know, 50 years later, after they went. And it's like, oh, they actually don't work very well. And we are redrafting.
Are we talking about redistricting?
No, we aren't.
Texas has actually established new laws in light of the Roe v. Wade decision being overturned. They've literally made it illegal in several access points crossing the state line for you to take a pregnant woman over the state line to have an abortion.
Those are new.
Yeah, that's
But the law regarding medical abortions within Texas, these are old laws. They're old laws all over the country. Because